I still do not have an intro song. One day though. One day though. Hello everyone! Let me just close everything down that I was tinkering with on the phone. We need to tweet out that we're live. All that good stuff. How's everyone been doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Game rules and driver change action required. Action is required. We need to take some action today. Need to take some action today. Mustache is twirled. Ferrari shirt is on. The Red Bull is opened. Whew. What's on the agenda today? We're gonna sell Logan Sargeant. And that's about it. And then we can end the stream, call it a day. What do we say? Don't forget to join the Discord. Thank you, Kalendori. Join the Discord. In 1 hour, we're going to take team submissions. So go to the team submissions channel in the Discord and drop your teams. Hello, hello, Jake Viking, Clyde. Don't forget to like the stream. See, Kalendori is doing the mods work here. Laura, hi, hi. Welcome back, welcome back. Agelos, good morning. All right, let's go to... Oh, I need to sign in. Is this gonna show my everything? Yeah, I'm not gonna show you guys how many characters are in my password or my personal email address. I feel like that's not... I feel like that won't go well. There we go, we're logged in. If you watched my video that I posted on the Logan Sargeant, the inactive drivers debacle, you already know how I feel about it, but we're gonna discuss that, of course. And in that video, I made my transfer for my second team already, so that's done and dusted. But this is my team for Azerbaijan currently, and it's not going to look like that for much longer, I can promise you that. Mustache sponsors, dude, like, hit me up. No, it's getting long. I've just let it grow for like 2 weeks now. Should I use no negative? We're gonna discuss that. We're gonna talk about exactly that because that's a very, very interesting thing, and I think it's actually a really, really good strategy. Let me tweet out that we're live. Let me tweet out that we're live. Live now. F1 Fantasy Deadline Stream. Get in here and drop your burning questions before it's too late. And a quick little link. Boom. There we go. So what should we talk about first then? I mean, let's... I feel like we should wait for some people to get in here before I talk about Logan Sargeant, inactive drivers, Magnussen, things like that. We're going to talk about no negative, what I think about that as a strategy. You do have a question? Drop it, I guess. Drop it. We're waiting for people to drop in before we talk about the big stuff. Maybe your question is big, you know? I don't want to put down your question. But we're gonna talk about inactive drivers in a while because I feel like that's the most important thing. We're gonna talk about Red Bull. I feel like that's important because Red Bull just out of nowhere looks like they're back, and I think it might be bait, but we'll see. Oh, you said on Discord, Lulana? Okay, I'll go through that in an hour's time, 55 minutes time. I do all the Discord stuff then. Thoughts on Perez as a 1 week punt? Listen, if you can afford to take a 1 week punt on Perez, be my guest. The problem for me and many others is that you need to sell Logan Sargeant, you need to sell Kevin Magnussen. There are other things that matter more than taking that 1 week punt right now. So the Checo punt, I'm not uninterested. Let's just say that. Will you see team submissions in Discord? I will go to the Discord and check the team submission channel at 1 p.m. Central Time, so in 55 minutes. The Iceberg, keep Sargeant, have triple premium, play no negative chip. I think that's the play for me this week. If you have triple premium, you just play no negative. I feel like that's a no-brainer. I think no negative. Let's talk about the no negative because it's very, very interesting. I don't have the no negative, so I can't do this. And I wouldn't consider... Normally, I'm in a very... Okay, let me think about what I'm going to say before I say it. I've been a very big advocate for using the no negative chip in sprint weekends because there's 2 races, there's 2 starts. It's, nearly twice as likely that someone DNFs in a sprint weekend. Because of that and the changes to the no negative chip for this season, I've been a very big advocate that you should use no negative in a sprint weekend. I think this specific race is the outlier, is the exception. And if you have Logan Sargeant and you might not have a good way to get out of him in free transfers, or you might be sitting with a team that's really, really expensive and really, really good, like a triple premium that Iceberg just said, or maybe you're sitting with something like I have, but you just don't have any cost cap. I don't hate playing no negative this weekend. It should, now granted, I don't know this because we haven't seen this before. The inactive drivers getting negative points is new, but I would be very surprised if no negative does not cancel out negatives from inactive drivers. I would give it a 5% chance of that happening, but I just want to make sure that, you are taking a slight risk by doing this. But Baku also looks treacherous, and it's very possible that some of your other drivers could also end up in the wall. So I think no negative strategies this week is going to be really, really powerful because you can stick with the Franco Colapinto, Logan Sargeant setup for longer. Checo Punt would be part of the no negative this week, plus wildcard next week. Oh, in that case, I think you're good. Like, if you're planning on wildcarding in Singapore, you are very, very good. And one thing is, you might want to consider keeping the wild card. Actually, in Kota, you might want a 3x. So I think that's fine. I think no negative, Checo Punt this week, and the wild card next week looks perfectly viable. I thought no negative doesn't work for inactive drivers. Listen, we don't know this, Syndicate. The reason why I think it does, and I'm pretty sure that it does, but again, I could be wrong, and I've been wrong before, is that inactive drivers. Now, if you let's go check the rules. Actually, let's read the rules. They've added this DNF not classified penalties apply to all drivers, including those classed as inactive or otherwise not included in the final starting grid. So you are not just added a -20. You are put into this category. You are not classified. You're DNF'd at -20 points. As well as an NC in qualifying. This includes inactive drivers. Now, the reason why I think this includes inactive drivers is that is just another, like, that's an event, right? But also just says this. So that this is what I don't know, right? Because if you look at Landon Norris, it just says points will be displayed after the session is completed. I think they just put this here to warn you, right? I think this is to make sure that no one forgets to sell Logan Sargeant. So I think it's fine. I think it's going to get -25 points and it's going to be classified as an event. And no negatives should remove events. Okay? So that's what I think that's what I think will happen. But it's not guaranteed. You're taking a risk by no negativing, but I would still take that risk if your team does not allow you to sell Logan Sargeant fast, simple, cheap, or your team is so good with Logan Sargeant Colapinto that you want to run it for one more week and try and get an upside. So that's what I would do. No negative better this week or Brazil? It's close. If you don't have Logan Sargeant, it's definitely better in Brazil. I think no negative is... let me rephrase this. No negative is only viable if you're on a Logan Sargeant strategy and you either cannot get out of him using free transfers or you have to, like, rip up your entire team to do so. Mornings. I'm pretty convinced Colapinto's going to crash and become Colo Shantu, but he's such a budget and nightmare. I mean, the Haas's, not the Haas's, the Saubers are nightmares as well, Hugo. So you're just running Colapinto, Sauber, and crying every time. Like, what can you do? It's not like you're gonna switch to a one premium. Yeah, but will the no negative work for Sargeant? I don't know. I'm not. Listen, I think it will. I'm pretty sure it will. I would be very surprised if it doesn't. Is there a risk don't have NN in Brazil? No, it's fine. I won't have NN in Brazil. I used my no negative in China, so not having the no negative in any given race is fine. It's just that, like, when I looked at the races coming up, I identified Brazil as probably the best no negative race. But I think Azerbaijan, just because of the inactive driver change, has sort of jumped in there as a contender for it. What's the best race to use the wildcard? It's when your team sucks, or when you're doing like Sed is doing, where you like take a 1 week punt now and then wildcard out of that punt next week. You can also use it, say, when Red Bull come with even more upgrades in Kota. You could wildcard to sort of build a Red Bull based team, but wildcard is very, very individual. I used it in Japan because I thought my team was bad. I started the season very poorly. So yeah. Sup KM? Leclerc or Piastri? Probably Piastri. I don't think Ferrari have looked great. Actually, so I'm gonna admit something. I'm a fake F1 fan. I'm a fake F1 creator. I did not have time to watch Free Practice 3. Okay. So let's just look at what happened. I've briefly scanned the timetables, but let's actually go and check what happened. And if you guys have any takeaways from FP3 that you think I might have missed by not watching it, please let me know below. I usually always watch FP3 before the stream, but I just did not have time today. Let's look at the Practice 3 results. George Russell, Ferrari. Oh, there we go. And then Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Max Verstappen back in 5th, Checo in 7th, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton down here, Alex Albon, Colapinto. Leclerc looks really good. Leclerc does look really good. But I saw something yesterday. I don't know, but again, I haven't seen FP3, so I don't know how FP3 goes for race sims, but I looked at some race simulations from FP2 yesterday, and it looked like Ferrari and Mercedes were quite a bit behind McLaren and Red Bull. But then again, you know, anything can happen this season. That's something I want to talk about too, right? So I've seen a lot of questions online and already in the chat, right? Someone already talked about getting Checo for a punt. Are we buying Red Bull? Do Red Bull look like they're back? Do we get Checo because he's the king of Baku? Do we get Max Verstappen? Do we get the Red Bull Constructor? And I just want to remind you something. Yes, I know we just saw Red Bull stink the place out in Monza, and it looks like they're back. But all the data this entire, like, summer, basically, when we've been in Europe, it's looked like on the race pace data that we've gotten from the simulations, it's looked like Red Bull were fastest, McLaren were slightly behind them, and there was a slight jump down to Mercedes and Ferrari, who sort of switched positions, being the third fastest team. And we've had that apart from Monza. Monza was the only one where Red Bull didn't even look close, right? What has happened? Well, Red Bull has, on paper, in the simulations, in like FP1 and FP2, on race pace, been fastest. Very, very minor, like not by a lot over McLaren. And Red Bull have not been close once the McLaren's late race pace, if that makes sense, on used tires, on low fuel, is just monstrous, and no one can really compete with that. That's why everyone's saying McLaren has a rocket ship. They're like equally fast to the other teams when they're fully loaded and like at the start of the race when everyone has fresh tires. But then those McLaren tires do not degrade, even though they did in Monza, but like they don't degrade fast enough, and they can just keep setting pace. I mean, Lando Norris in Zandvoort set the fastest lap on like 40 lap old hards at the end of the race against like a Lance Stroll who tried to do it on softs and failed. So the brief sort of hint of Red Bull pace that we saw in Free Practice 1 and 2, I don't think that's course for like us changing our teams completely, getting Red Bull in yet. Now, it might look different after, if Red Bull perform decently in Singapore, where they were awful last year when they had the best car in the history of Formula 1 compared to their competitors. If they look decent in Singapore, and we know there's Red Bull upgrades coming to Kota, so they can challenge for the championship, then maybe I'll start looking at some Red Bull based teams. But for me right now, I have other priorities, selling Sargeant, and there's just other things I need to manage. So I would personally not punt on Checo, Max, or Red Bull Racing. Now, if you're like said it previously, you can definitely go for a punt on Checo if you're wildcarded next week. So sorry to bother you, but I put a message in team submissions heading out soon. I will miss QUALI. Any chance you could look and have a quick thought? Just because I recognize you from before Typefox, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. I feel we'll have at least one DNF and a safety car. I feel so as well. All right, let's just quickly. I feel like Typefox posted it earlier, right? Here we go. Early team submission from Typefox. I like it when you do this, guys. When you post one image of like multiple cool things, or just 1, 2, 3. I really like it. So I just talked about the Checo punt. Checo punt looks fine if you have a way of getting out of it. If it doesn't turn out well. Yuki Tsunoda's always been good here, so I do like that. Though you have Nico in here. So it's essentially you're buying Ferrari, which I think makes sense. And then it's just who are you pairing that Ferrari driver with? So what you're essentially asking is it Piastri, Sainz, Perez, and then like who's the best C tiers for the race? I don't know how V-Corp's pace look. I think Yuki Tsunoda has historically been very, very good here in Baku. So I don't mind the Yuki Tsunoda pick, but I think Hülkenberg is just generally safer. The Haas has just been good all year, right? And then you have Sainz versus Piastri, I think is close, but I think I still prefer Piastri just because of that McLaren race pace. So I think I prefer Team 1, but that's the basic take. Team 3 is way more fun. So you can do what you want. They're all very, very close, all very, very good teams. Let me go to the race pace data that I saved. It should be here somewhere. Let's see. We have. I think I retweeted it. Did I not? I did. Oh, this is optimal laps. This is the one. Okay, so let's just bring this over here. Okay, let's discuss this. What time will you be doing team submissions? I will be doing him in 40 minutes. I just did Typefox's early because he's leaving and I recognize him from before. No problem, man. So this is the data from yesterday that I saw that I thought were interesting, right? And it looks like Red Bull's back. So this is qualifying pace. McLaren look a bit off it. And then this is the race pace. And again, I feel like it's looked like this all season with Red Bull being just barely ahead of McLaren. And then McLaren's just been the faster car anyway. I mean, look at Austria. Lando just caught Max out of nowhere once the degradation started. So I think rule out Ricardo or Tsunoda for Hulk. I'll do a full C tier list in a bit. So I don't think we're buying Red Bull yet. Now, that's not to say that they're not options. I think Red Bull Racing as the constructor is always an option just because of how good they are at pit stops. And I've been saying this all year, right? If I were to do it, the problem with me is like I could maybe get to a Red Bull Racing team, but that would require keeping Logan Sargeant. And if the Logan Sargeant Colapinto strategy was still viable, I could see myself rushing to a Red Bull Racing asset just to be different. But again, I have to upgrade the Logan Sargeant asset, and that leaves no money in the bank. Like, even if I get Shogun U, which is the cheapest, how do I feasibly get Red Bull Racing in here? So, and as for Checo, I'm not. I don't have balls big enough to run with Checo after the year he's had. I think he's just gonna be P7 again. I think we're overhyping him. P8. But I might be wrong. I would be happy to be proved wrong. Suggestion for you: put some of your explainers in the description, and when people ask when to use chip, just tell them to take a peek at the video below. I would like to have like a board that I could just pin timestamps on. That would be pretty good. I think I should look into that. Like having just noting down when I talk about certain things, such as like a certain chip, and then I can just instantly drop a timestamp. So I think that Ferrari or Mercedes for second constructor. I still think Ferrari looked the best, but it's close. Let's please hit like, guys. Thank you, radio. Also welcome. The sliding bailouts and issues for everyone in all three free practices because of the dust and change in time from April to September. Does this increase danger of the race making it worse than Brazil? Yes, it does. But Brazil is a sprint, so still no. Right? I don't think Brazil is, you know, a treacherous track. The reason why I identified Brazil specifically is because, like, out of the sprint races that we have remaining, the one where it could even possibly rain is Brazil, right? So, Brazil usually lends for some tight racing, so there could definitely be collisions, especially into that turn 1. So that's just why I'm saying Brazil is dangerous. But I think Baku, if we just compare the race, Baku is definitely, and Singapore as well, definitely more dangerous than Brazil. But Brazil is a sprint weekend, so there's more instances that you can lose points. And it's not even that you have to DNF. You could also just spin out, end up lost, and that's a negative 15 points, you know? Especially in a sprint race when you don't have the time to catch back up with no pit stops. Can we trust McLaren? I think yes. McLaren is interesting because they have just removed the papaya rules or altered the papaya rules. My god, what a mess that was, by the way, last weekend. Let's talk papaya rules, okay? I think papaya rules are the dumbest things I've ever heard. I've seen a lot of people sort of discuss online who to blame between Lando, Piastri, and McLaren, and it's obviously McLaren, right? Why is anyone blaming Oscar? No one should like actually blame Oscar. You can look at it objectively and say, did that move into turn? Oscar himself has said that no, it was the strategy from Ferrari that won the race. Yes. But I do think that without that move into turn 4, I don't think Ferrari's strategy would have worked because Lando would have been ahead of Charles. So it would have changed a lot of the dynamic of the race. So did that move that Oscar made in turn 4 cost them the 1-2? I think yes, but it's not Oscar's fault, right? They were told they could race on lap 1 because of papaya rules, and that's stupid when you have a 1-2. It's one thing, listen, it's one thing if Lando messes up the start and you're heading to turn 1, all power to you, right? Pass him. But launching like that on turn 1, Lando took evasive action and Charles got past Lando as well. In a vacuum, that move from Piastri is godlike. It's such a good move. But on lap 1 of the race, you do put the team behind you. And what I think is ironic is that in Hungary, Lando was shamed publicly, online and by the team, mainly the team, over the radio while he's driving a race, fighting for the World Drivers' Championship. Let Piastri win, we messed up. We as a team messed up. You need the team, you need Piastri to win this championship. And the team cannot go in and say, hey boys, listen, if one of you mess up the start, obviously pass, right, into turn 1. But don't make any lunches after we've secured a 1-2 on lap 1. I feel like that should be kind of obvious when you're the team. And then, you know, if you want to go papaya rules, they can race, we don't have a number 1 or number 2 driver. You can do that on lap 14 when you're 3 seconds ahead of Leclerc. But you don't do it on lap 1. So that's just my opinion on it, and I think it's the clear and obvious opinion on it. I don't get why everyone said, like, oh, Oscar Piastri does this, and oh, Lando Norris does this. And everyone's saying, like, oh, if Lando Norris wins now, we're going to give team orders. What, you think Hamilton and Verstappen didn't win with team orders? People are so cringe online, man. Like, actually online only takes. Grow up, it's racing. This is what happens. I think McLaren were stupid. Ugh. So yeah, not gonna blame Oscar when obviously it was cold. It was so clean. It was so clean, and I'm not blaming Oscar at all because he did what he was allowed to in the rules. But McLaren should never have allowed Oscar to make that move. They should have said, if Lando is bad in the start and you're ahead in turn 1, to overtake him. Don't like hold the line up, right? Pass him. But once you've both got him past turn 1 and 2, and you have a clear, like, don't launch like that. That launch would have been sick on lap 13, right? But he launched on lap 1. Charles got past. Lando had to push extra hard to try and pass. Boomed his tires. And then, you know, Ferrari got the opportunity to do their strategy after McLaren thought that the degradation would be higher and pitted Oscar Piastri as well, which also was really stupid. Why would you ever pit Piastri first? Piastri was like, what, 3 or 4 seconds ahead of Leclerc, and he was on newer tires than Leclerc. If they don't pit him, Leclerc is not passing. You have better degradation. Maybe Lando passes, but then on fresh tires, but there's no way anyone that doesn't pit pass you. Like, and you put the ball in Ferrari's court, and you do not get overtaken in one lap. You don't get undercut in one lap, like 3 or 4 seconds, unless you also messed up the pit stop. So they should have just let Ferrari pit and then gone in with Oscar, and Oscar would have won the race. So I don't know. I think McLaren has fumbled way too hard, but I do think we should still trust McLaren. Papaya rules give me a headache. Yes, papaya rules do give me a headache. That was tragic. Show might be better this weekend for your team than Bottas due to having start P20 and likely a lot of DNFs. That is a really good point, Reinhardt. Good name, by the way. I agree. But also, yeah, maybe he will actually start P20, right? 18th. Maybe he will start P20. Maybe it is Shogun U time. Huh? Listen, I can go for Bottas or Shogun U here. I think Bottas is a safer option, but maybe Shogun U is the correct pick. Heard he got a penalty. Who? He has a penalty. Is it Show? Oh, sorry for hitting the mic. That was really violent. That's interesting. Let's check the FIA documents bot. I should have that as a link. I can just click on my stream deck. F1 documents bot. Let's see. Timing sheet. Shogun U. The following power unit elements have been used. Third energy store, third control. Required to start the race from the back of the starting grid. We're getting show, boys. We're getting show. I did not see that. Wait. Alright. Forget every plan I ever had of getting Bottas. It's Shogun U time. Though the last time I said that about a driver with start at the back of the grid penalties, it was Pierre Gasly, and he ended up just pitting after lap 1 with an issue, so. The comments on this are really funny. The penalties are most useless because he usually starts at the back, so shows usual starting grid. Let's hope he doesn't DNF. Listen, I mean, with the Saubers, they can always DNF. To be fair, like, Bottas hasn't DNF'd in China, so maybe Bottas is due a DNF. Show DNF'd in Spa and Japan. So maybe he won't do it again. I'm all in on the green cars for budget reasons, praying they finish the race. Hey, Jeremy, I think a lot of us, unless you have a monster budget, are in the same boat. MS Paint sells Sargeant by show. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Will you replace Albon Hulk for show in this case? No. I would never. Listen, even Shogun U from P20 is bad, right? He could definitely end in P20 if there are no DNFs. I would definitely not sell Albon or Hulkenberg. The Williams look rapid, and I think the Williams could be really good. So I am definitely happy holding both Albon and Colapinto. Let's actually talk about C-tier assets. Let's get my Canva thing up here. I think it's this one. Oh, I just have it already, I think. Da, 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 da. It's almost completely ready. That is great planning by me. I'm getting more and more prepared for every, you know, for every race weekend. But I was not completely prepared. So let us do. I think we do this, and then we just go here. There we go. No. That was not what I wanted. Slight technical difficulties. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be fine. Alright, this is not the okay, so let's this was last weekend, by the way, when we still had Logan Sargeant. So I still haven't added Colapinto into this, but that's fine. We'll just have this. So what do we have in Azerbaijan? The C tier list. So obviously the first movement. This was the tier list last race weekend in Monza, and now we're gonna quickly see what has happened to it in 2 weeks time, right? So the biggest drop, record-breaking drop, is Logan Sargeant crashing so far out that he's like off in the Giga F tier somewhere down below here. So Logan Sargeant is just off the map. I think Albon arguably is the best asset, the best C-tier asset this week. The Williams look really, really good. Albon's cheap. He is preferred in the team. He got points last weekend. Didn't increase in price still, even though we got 9th. But with 1 or 2 more DNFs in Azerbaijan from other drivers, and Albon getting P8, P9, I think Albon will be best of the rest. And I think if just one of the front 8 DNFs, I think that should guarantee him to increase in price if he can stay on the road. Colapinto, also in the Williams, super cheap, still S tier, fantastic assets, lovely assets. Now this will be Oliver Behrman. I'm not prepared for all these driver changes, man. Let's do Behrman, change it to a bit of red. So, Oliver Behrman is awful. How can they price him? How can they price him at 15 million? The worst option in the game. I think maybe not as bad as Alonso. And when it comes to constructors, there are definitely constructors that are worse. But in terms of drivers, it's Behrman or Alonso. Those are the 2 worst drivers on the grid in terms of assets. So, unfortunate. I wish I could be sitting here and say, "Oh, I want to take a punt on Oliver Behrman at 8 million," but he's 15 million. It's beyond ludicrous. He should have been Magnussen's price or Hulkenberg's or lower. He's a rookie. Why is he 15 million? I know it's because he was in Ferrari. That doesn't make any sense. Just make a new asset. Okay, Shogun you from 20th is better, but I still don't think it's amazing. I think the Alpines are giga garbage. Let's get that straight. I think the Alpines are giga garbage. I think Pierre Gasly is better than Ocon, but the Alpine is stinking the place out. What happened to Alpine, man? They were bad at the start of the season. We expected them to come with some upgrades and actually challenge for like P7 at least in the championship. No, car's gotten worse. Alpine are just god awful, and I bet that Ocon is happy to leave them. As for the Saubers, the steak kick Saubers, right? Because Logan Sargeant is gone, that has made them better options. We also need to add Lance Stroll in here. That's correct. I forgot Lance Stroll is now a C-tier again. Jesus Christ. So I wasn't as prepared as I thought. All right, we can discuss Lance Stroll at the same time. There we go. Right. So because Logan Sargeant is no longer here, I think that makes the Saubers better options. Why? Because they're cheap, right? You kind of have to have one of the Saubers if you're low on budget to be able to afford a good 2B2 premium driver to premium constructor team. So I think Bottas therefore is bottom of B tier. I think he just slots the the V-Carb has been this the entire season. They're just really difficult to read. Yuki Tsunoda is definitely better than Daniel Ricciardo, and Yuki Tsunoda has historically been very good in Baku. So I'm gonna back Yuki to get a cheeky P10. If the Astons aren't there. As for Shogun Yu, I think him starting 20th does make him better. He's not better than Hulkenberg though. I think starting P20 is the best. Like, this is probably the best Shogun Yu is gonna be all year, realistically, and that's an A tier asset. So he's still bad, right? And then Lance Stroll, I think, is also an A tier asset. I don't think he's an S tier asset. I think he's good because he's a C tier, and that's the only reason. You're just hoping he scores 7 points and increases 0.5 million. I've seen a few people having to downgrade like George Russell to Lance Stroll to be able to afford the Sargeant upgrade, and I think that's fine. You're just gonna hope he finishes the race and gets like 6 or 7 points, and that should give him a price increase, and then you can just sell him back to George Russell afterwards. So just make some quick money on Lance Stroll. Hope he finishes hope he qualifies badly like he usually does and climbs to like P11, P12 in the race. That's kind of like what you're hoping with Lance. So I think that's definitely possible. He's not S tier by any means, but he's A tier. I feel like he's good. So these are my definitive C tier rankings. Magnussen and Sargeant are obviously Giga F tiers. They're not gonna do anything. They're literally gonna destroy your weekend. So these are my definitive C tier rankings for Azerbaijan. Does anyone disagree? I feel like I'm valid. Okay, does anyone disagree with any of my takes here? If so, speak up now or forever hold your silence. Show being A is definitely track specific. Yes. These C tier rankings that I do every week, which now become like an every week thing, is definitely track specific. You guys know the win. I'm calling it. Weesh. They're thinking all will get Haas's first F1 win in F1 with that pricing. Yep. D tier needed. We need an F tier, to be honest. C is generous. C is generous for Behrman. I agree. C is very generous. But like he could get points. I'm like Behrman could definitely qualify in 18th and climb to 12th, get a solid 10 pointer, and increase by 0.1 million. But like that's not why you would buy him. You don't buy him for 10 points. At that point, you buy George Russell for 18 points. So yeah. Tsunoda over Stroll in Baku. I think that's fair. What he just said here. Tsunoda over Stroll in Baku is acceptable. I just haven't seen enough from V-Carb. I don't know how they're gonna perform. No way show is A tier even here. I think he is because he's starting 20th. He's definitely better than Bottas. All right, show versus Bottas is definitely show in this specific race. I think in every other race it's Bottas. But I think in Baku, because he's starting P20, he starts last every race though. That's good. That's what you want. If he starts last every race, guaranteed, that's good. But he hasn't been starting last every race. He's been starting like P18 because people have taken penalties and then he gets overtaken and ends P20. You know? If he starts 20 and there are 3 DNF, his price goes up? Not necessarily. If there are 3 DNFs and he doesn't do any overtakes, just increases 3 points will never be enough to increase in price. I think the minimum we can expect it to be with like a reasonable DNF result of maybe 3, like say 3 or 4 people DNF. That's still like a lot of DNFs, right? I think even at that point, it's probably 5 points that you need, maybe 4 to increase. Who has the best chance of price increase? I think Colapinto. Just bin it in qualifying, start P19, climb to P12 again. Time is ticking, need to know 2x on Norris or Leclerc. If you have Norris, you put him on Norris. I don't see the point in having Norris. Oh my god, I forgot I have food in the oven. Yikes. I got so busy prepping, I just forgot that I put food in the oven. And now I realize I'm hungry, and now my food's ruined. That's been like an extra 40 minutes. No, an extra 50 minutes in the oven. Yikes. I thought I smelled something funny. I was wondering if I had a stroke. Oh, no. My snacks. Oh, whatever. It's fine, it's fine. I'll just eat after. Oh, now I have to cook food for real. Oh no. Alright, let's go back to this. That's all. I threw a pizza in the oven because I was like, oh, you know, I'm hungry. I'll eat as I prep for the stream, and then I just prep for the stream and started streaming and forgot about it. Treat yourself. Order a pizza. Oh, I guess I have to. Oh, that sucks. That's so bad. Oh my god, actually, I'm such a... Oh, I hate it. Not the pizza. Oh, whatever. It's fine, it's fine. That's pissed me off. That's pissed me right off. This does not work anymore. Just order a pizza? Yeah, I'm just gonna order a pizza probably. You only live once. True. True. Leclerc or Piastri? It's similar to last week. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think anyone could take it, but like... Leclerc's looked good, man. Order the pizza. I'll order it off the stream. I'll order it while we're watching qualifying. That thing's gonna be frisbee, might last longer than the show in the race. Oh no! I mean, yeah, it was pretty charred. I will say that it was pretty. I have a frisbee golf like court just like a few minutes away from my house. I could probably bring it there, and people would ask like where I bought it. Leclerc is allowed to win, Piastri is not. Oof. Okay, listen. So, what do we actually think about the Papaya rules? I think the Papaya rules 2.0, because that's where we're at. I think if Piastri has pole and is leading the race the entire way through, Norris starts in like P3, makes it up, and Norris is P2 and like 2 seconds behind Piastri. There's no way they're letting Lando pass. No way, right? Like, Piastri getting his first real win, you know? So, Piastri's definitely allowed to win. But I don't think he's allowed to race Lando if Lando's ahead. I think that's where they're gonna say no. So, I don't think they're gonna straight up team order if Piastri's leading and Norris is second. I think if Norris can pass him, they will allow Norris to pass. I think that's where I think the difference will be if Piastri is leading the race and Norris is behind him in second, Norris is allowed to fight for first. If they do it by Papaya rules, make it safe, make it clean, whatever. I think if it's the opposite and Lando's ahead and Piastri's behind, I don't think they will allow Piastri to fight. So I think that's what the difference will be in the Papaya rules 2.0 between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. And I also don't think if they have a 1-2, they will never be allowed to race on lap 1 again. Never. Yep, it's Piastri, Leclerc, Piastri, Leclerc. I don't know, man. I really don't know. It depends on how good McLaren are. Like, Leclerc will be going for the win, so... I probably won't punt on Leclerc. I'll just get Show in there. I could get Leclerc, but I think I need to actually start having transfers in the bank. Because if, for some reason, Red Bull start showing up and I need to get a Red Bull Racing asset in there, I need to start having transfers available to move around my team more than I do currently. Leclerc has an affinity for that one wall, though, to be fair. Yep. That also scares me a bit. Leclerc is very... Like, listen. Leclerc and Piastri is literally a coin toss between me. I have no idea who's going to be better, but just because of the McLaren race pace, I slightly edge it Piastri. Actually, let's make the first poll of the stream. Start a poll. Let's see what you guys think. Leclerc or Piastri? Just straight up. No 2x or anything. Just boom. Leclerc or Piastri? What do we think? What do we think? Has the F1 Fantasy Tool Simulation updated? If so, we'll use it. If it has updated, I will definitely use it. But I've not checked. Post FP3 is not out yet. We can look at post FP2 for now. Not out yet. I think it will be out probably around the time we do team submissions. But I mean, this is literally the team I have, right? At my budget, I have the preferred team according to the FP2 calculations. So when will you see team submissions? In 12 minutes, I'll start going through the team submissions. If you haven't, you can join the Discord. Link it down in the description below. You just go to the team submissions channel, post your team in there. You can only do one post. It has a long cooldown on it. And I'll sort of go through that and do what your guys' teams are and what I would do if I were in your position. Now, you don't have to take my advice for anything. I do have, you know, my biases and my set, I guess, preferences in mind. So I will be giving similar tips to a lot of people. If I don't get to your team specifically, don't feel hard done by it. There might be a lot. Sometimes there's less. Sometimes I might get through everyone, but it's not a guarantee. And sometimes, you know, the things I like to talk in depth about a couple rather than just skim over everyone, because I feel like more people can hear like the larger discussions about one team and sort of apply that to their own team rather than me just saying, no, do option 3, do option 2. Do Russell over that one. Like, the Russell option is better. Because if I just say that, then you cannot apply it for your own team. So if you then missed me doing your team, or if your team does not get featured because you posted too late, like, so I'd rather talk a bit more about a couple of teams, if that makes sense. So I'm really sorry if I don't get your team, but join the Discord so you're ready for the next time. Link in the description below. 2x on Leclerc or Norris? I think you have to put it on Norris now that the Papaya rules are going to start favoring him a bit more, apparently. So I think the 2x goes on Norris if you have Norris. Russell plus Bottas, Stroll plus Hull. Or should I split Russ and upgrade my C? No, you definitely just go Russell, Bottas. Stroll Hulkenberg is fine for one race, but you need to be prepared to remove it next race. So if you're doing Stroll Hulkenberg, you got to be prepared to change it for the next race. I actually prefer Russell Show actually over Russell Bottas. I think Show is just better than Bottas this weekend. But what's your reason with siding with McLaren in this race and not choosing Leclerc? Because the simulations still prefer McLaren. The race pace for the McLaren is still better. The quali pace for Ferrari looked good. So Ferrari could do great things, but we've seen McLaren not be top of the simulations in free practice. And then 50 laps into the race, when everyone's on 25 lap old hards, the McLaren just comes alive, or all the other cars die. It's either or. and they can just pass everyone. So I think the McLaren is still the fastest car, and I prefer the McLaren, even though I'm sitting here with a Ferrari shirt, right? And especially now that we think Norris is going to be preferred over Piastri within the team and the team rules. If you have Norris, I think you just go for him. If you don't have the 2x on Norris, you might as well go for Piastri and Leclerc. Put the 2x on Leclerc if you believe Leclerc's going to get it. And then hope that Piastri beats Norris and that you increase in price and budget, right? So I think for Norris specifically, if you have him in your team, I think you put your DRS boost on him. So that's my reasoning with siding with McLaren. 8 minutes until we do the price changes, guys. No, price changes. What? The team submissions. And let me know when the simulations are out, and we'll come back to this. So, I think for me, it's not going to be a very stressful weekend. I think I'm just going to get Shogun Yu in now. That penalty on Show has me confirmed that I'm going to go for Show over Bottas, because I don't like either of them. Let me be clear. Maybe maybe Show is generous. Maybe Show is actually just like top of B. Maybe it's like this, right? But it feels wrong to put Danny Rick and Tsunoda in the wrong tiers, right? That feels incorrect. So maybe it's like this, you know? Maybe this is the way. But I think Show's better. But I think it's like either here or here. I think it's because it's confirmed he's gonna start P20. I think it's here. And because we're hoping there's going to be DNFs in the race from other drivers. So, I think I'm fine with this. Going for Paris 2x King of the Streets. That's very brave. I salute you for your bravery. I do not have that bravery within me. I will not be touching Paris. Do you think no negative works on SAR? Yes. But I don't know. I think by 95% certain, yes. But you are taking a risk. Show us more risk of DNS, plus even more if he has engine issue. Well, he has a new engine now, so theoretically it should work. But maybe they just do an Alpine and say he has issues and bring him in to keep it. But like, I don't know. I think the Saubers are always a DNF risk, but they have, to be fair, they haven't DNF'd that much. Show has only DNF'd twice this season, I believe. Yeah. So Show's only DNF'd twice this season. Brave or degenerate. Paris drives like Schumacher when it's in a country with no human rights. True. That's so true. Maybe Paris is actually lucky that Baku is at the tail end of the season this year, so that he can have his great performance here, convince Red Bull to keep him for another season, and, you know, be bad in Europe again. Who would you 2x, Leclerc or Norris? Norris. Are we sure Show has penalty? Yes, that is confirmed. Show is taking new parts, so he is starting at the back. He is taking a new ES and a new CE, which is engine store and control electronics. So that is confirmed. If you don't believe me, here is the FIA F1 document spot talking about it. Shogun Yu, infringement, breach of article, blah, 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 sporting regulations, decision required to start from the back of the grid. So this is confirmed. With a loophole over, I have to drop Norris for Piastri, so you think 2x on Leclerc. If you have Leclerc and Piastri, it's definitely closer than Norris-Leclerc, right? So I think if you have Norris and Leclerc, you have to put the 2x on Norris, because otherwise, why do you have Norris, right? If you don't put the 2x on Norris, you might as well go for Piastri and hope for Norris's downfall so that you can gain budget, right? When it comes to Leclerc versus Piastri, it's way, way closer. I still prefer Piastri. Apparently, you guys don't, though. 74% of you prefer Leclerc over Piastri. I think that's crazy. I prefer maybe like it's not by a lot. I think it's way closer. I think it's like a 55% Piastri lean for me personally, because I still think that if Norris is bad, they're like Piastri is gonna be allowed to win, right? Thanks. I like the way of thinking. Are you an analyst? No, I'm not an analyst, but I could be. Piastri, my God, I don't care what any poll says. I think it's crazy that 74% of you prefer Leclerc. I think that's crazy. Not that I don't like. I'm a Leclerc fanboy. That's my boy right there. I still prefer Piastri by a tiny margin, but I thought it would be way closer. So I guess if you have Leclerc Piastri, I guess you go for Piastri. But I'm not gonna follow that. I'm not gonna buy Leclerc this weekend. I'm gonna stick with Piastri, I think. Should I take a -10 to get Rory in for Merc? I did this last weekend, and it was only worth 9 points. Okay, I want you to get that clear. Let's go back. So this is what you. So I did this, right? I did exactly what Tommaso just said. Last weekend in Italy, I took a -10 to get Ferrari in from Mercedes. Ferrari got 65 points versus Mercedes got 46, right? It was a 19 points difference if I don't remember incorrectly. Oh, 49, it was 16 points. Wait, 49, 65. Yeah, it was 16 points. So I earned 6 points on that. And Leclerc won the race. Okay? So if you don't think Leclerc has a chance of winning the race, you definitely don't do it. And even then, even if Leclerc wins the race, and Sainz was 4th, Sainz was not sandbagging at all, right? Yes, McLaren, and like Mercedes were not 2nd, 3rd. Mercedes were, what were they? 5th, 7th? Right? Yeah, Verstappen was 6th. Yeah, they were Mercedes were 5th and 7th. And Ferrari only outscored by 16 points. And with a -10, that's 6 points. So if you're expecting a similar result, then yes. But you are taking a risk. It might pay off. It might be close. But there's a chance Mercedes, you know, just won DNF and that entirely switches. Like, imagine last weekend if Sainz had DNF'd, right? Sainz DNF, Leclerc wins, and you lost on that move. So you're one DNF from either of the Rory boys away from it being a disaster. Now, you obviously there could be a DNF on one of the Mercedes boys as well. You can never predict that. But what I'm saying is there's always a DNF risk on either side. They could swing it. And the upside is not that big. The upside is not that big. So yes, you could do it. But you're expecting a swing of like under 10 points. Even in the best case of scenario. I don't think Ferrari is 1-2ing this, right? With Mercedes double DNFing. Obviously, that's best case scenario if you do end up selling Mercedes for Ferrari. But in a best case realistic scenario, you're like earning 10 points. So but if show allows you to get someone better in your team than Bottas, then show, but otherwise Bottas. I think for Azerbaijan specifically, because show is guaranteed to start at the back of the grid, I think show is better regardless. But yes, in like say that going for show over Bottas allows you to go from Carlos Sainz up to Leclerc, then obviously you go for show over Bottas. All right, top of the hour. I'm gonna run a quick ad break, and once we're back, I'm gonna do the team submissions, and then after team submissions, we're gonna talk about Logan Sargeant, the inactive drivers. We're gonna talk about my team, what I'm doing. We're gonna do tip of the week. We're gonna do... What else are we doing? I feel like I forgot something. There's a lot of things happening, so don't go anywhere. I'm just gonna quickly run an ad, go to the toilet, and then we're gonna do team submissions, tip of the week. We're gonna do my team transfers, all that good stuff. So I will be right back. While I'm gone, like the stream. We're currently only on 28 likes, and there's 165 of you in here, which is crazy. So we can definitely get that to like at least 50, but maybe even 75 while I'm back. So quick ad, and I will be right back. All right, we're back. We are back. What's happened? FP3 sim is... Oh, FP3 sims. That's what I forgot. FP3 sims. Okay. Oh, but I promised we would do team submissions. Oh, but I want to do FP3 sims. Okay, we'll do some team submissions now. My God, I told you guys to stay and everyone left. Like, 50 people just dropped out. I'm sorry for running an ad. All right. It's okay. It's okay. I forgive you. Let's do team submissions and then we'll look at FP3 sims. All right. Team submissions and then FP3 sims. We've done Typefox. Dino. Let's see. So we're here with a Logan Sargeant. Okay. So we're gonna discuss inactive drivers now because obviously we have to do that with a Logan Sargeant asset in here. Logan Sargeant is an obvious sell. I don't know if you have free hit, 2 free transfers. You don't have Colapinto. If you do not have Colapinto, I think the transfer is super simple. I like that you've marked what you've done. Switch Norris to Leclerc and then upgrade Sargeant to Colapinto with 2 million in the bank. The other one is getting Colapinto with 3. You do have 3 free transfers. Okay. So I don't know which one. Okay, if you're doing this, Dino, I think, again, I would prefer Show over Bottas. Right? Will no negative cover the minus 25 or inactive? I think yes, but I'm not guaranteed. I don't know, okay? I'm not sure. But, oh, we should look at the FP3 sims before I do this, actually. Yeah, you guys gotta wait, sorry. All right, we'll just do this one, and then we'll look at FP3, because then I know what I can recommend, okay? But, these... If you don't have Logan Sargeant, the easiest thing to do is just 1 upgrade to Colapinto. Now, you obviously have 3 free transfers, so I don't think it's this. Why? Because I don't think you should be selling Norris. I think Norris is the best 2xer. Apparently, you think Leclerc is the best 2xer no matter what. So if you want to put the 2x on Leclerc here, I don't know if you forgot to switch it to Lando Norris. If you want to put the 2x on Leclerc, you definitely go for this team and go for budget building with Piastri Leclerc. If you want to switch the 2x to Norris, I think you go for this team, but with Show instead of Bottas. But the easiest thing to do if you're on a similar team as Dino here, and you have Logan Sargeant, but you don't have Colapinto, is to just switch to Colapinto and call it a day. Let's look at the FP3 sim so I can actually give you some good advice, right? We're gonna start doing this from my team value. We're gonna look at some different team values, obviously, but let's see. I think they prefer, what I've heard, they prefer Leclerc, okay? They're Leclerc fanboys, all of them. They are not. They're not. Someone prefers Red Bull in here. That's kind of crazy. But this is still the exact team I'm running. Oh, no, it's oh, yeah, FP3. This is still, this is the exact team I'm running. So I'm good. This is the exact team I'm running. Notice how the simulations prefer Show over Bottas in every instance. The only time they add Bottas is when they have Show and Bottas. And all of the time they just prefer to have Albon instead. Colapinto's in there most of the time. The 3 free assets are usually the same. It's just a Hulkenberg in there if you can afford it, but I wouldn't run Russell here. They apparently like Russell over Leclerc. Show into the barrier. Yeah, but he's gonna start. We're fine. He's starting last, so. Or do you mean he's gonna drive into the barrier in the race? I mean, it's possible, but I think you just go for Show over Bottas because Bottas could also do that. That Red Bull build though, notice. Okay, so one thing with this team, it does have Red Bull, yes. It also does not have McLaren, and notice how it spreads out its premium assets across Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, and Mercedes. I think this is bad. You're minimizing risk, yes, but you're also the ceiling of your weekend goes down, because if Russell does well, Red Bull and Ferrari don't do well. And that's kind of what we've seen. It's like, apart from Max over Checo, the teammates are usually pretty close to each other. So like, if Mercedes is good, then Russell and Hamilton's good, and Ferrari's usually the one paying the price for it. Whereas, like, same goes for McLaren. If McLaren's good, Norris and Piastri are usually good, and then it's Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren and Mercedes paying the price for it. So I think a triple up is just straight up better, and then you put like putting all your eggs in one basket. Yes, it's riskier. You could have a Ferrari in Canada or a Haas in Monza, Haas in Monaco type race, but the upside is greater. No way Russell over Leclerc. I definitely agree with that. I think this is just because Russell was fast in FP3. I think this is incorrect. I think this is definitely better. Oh wait, maybe I can't afford. Wait, maybe I need to up my budget actually. Let's put 123 million. Maybe Leclerc's in there. Yeah. Okay, so they actually do prefer at 122.6 million. They prefer Leclerc. So I can actually afford this. Okay. So I just put the budget too low because I couldn't afford Ferrari plus Leclerc, but I can afford this. So they actually prefer Leclerc over Piastri. That makes more sense. Russell's now gone. Hamilton's up there. This makes way more sense. Leclerc definitely over Russell. Yeah. I was just looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at McLaren Mercedes teams with Leclerc in there. They prefer Leclerc over Piastri, but not over Norris. And I think that's where it gets close. I think if you have Leclerc Piastri, I think you're justified going for Leclerc, hoping that McLaren have a stinker. So it's sort of what I expected, and I think that's valid. If you're running Leclerc Piastri and you're wondering who to put the 2X on, I think you're justified in putting it on Leclerc and just praying that McLaren stink the place out. Piastri and Ferrari for sure. So this one then. But yeah, this it's all pretty close. I mean, the points, predicted points is very, very similar. Let's look at some other budget points. So let's say you're poor. At 118 million. So I think, yeah, it's just something like this, right? You're stuck with Mercedes over Ferrari. You're definitely running Russell in there. They really like Norris as a 2X option. You could have McLaren Ferrari, but then you have Leclerc Russ. And at this point, you might as well not run McLaren. If you're not running, like, at this point, if you're running this team at 117.1 million, you might as well run Mercedes in here and hope McLaren DNF, right? Because you're already betting so hard against Norris doing poorly that why even have McLaren in there at that point? Just go Ferrari, Mercedes, and pray for the upside. Hamilton for Piastri, but I get a -10. Ooh, I think that's a rough one because you don't know what's gonna happen with Piastri in this race. But -10s are always iffy, especially when you're doing sideways moves. Leclerc and Russell or Norris and Russell. So that's what I mean. Like, I think Norris and Russell for sure. But if you want to do Leclerc and Russell, you can. But then you should bet against McLaren to go for the highest upside. At this point, you gotta start taking risks in the season, right? You can't just, you can't just run this and hope it's gonna go well for you. Because if McLaren do well, oh yeah, you're doing well. But everyone has McLaren. Literally everyone has McLaren. So if you're betting against Norris, you should bet hard against Norris because the upside is way, way bigger. Does that make sense? It's kind of like the effective ownership thing. And also just, right, if McLaren double DNF and you don't have any McLaren and you're sitting with Mercedes Ferrari, you're going to look like the king of the world. All right, let's go back to team submissions. If you haven't left your team submission, you can do so in the description. In the description is the link to my Discord server. Just go there, drop your team in the team submissions channel. I'm going to post more things on Discord. We're just going to start like a members only thing if you want to become a member. If you want to become a member, by the way, it's only $1.99. I've lowered the price for it. So if you want to become a member and make sure your message gets highlighted in the stream always, you can do so. Let's see here. Also, become a member so that I can buy a pizza because I burnt my pizza for lunch. Let's see then. We have a Checo team. So this is just a team. You've already used your transfers. Or is this what... Oh, you can't press continue. So I assume that you've made your transfers. I think this team looks fine. I mean, you're betting on Perez, so good luck. I think he's going to be 8th. Salima. All right, I saw you ask about it earlier. I hope you're still in here. Current team, you have 2 transfers, possibility 1, 2, and 3. I love these. Keep doing these, guys. And then I see Fraser's done another MS Paint one. God damn it. God damn it. Where are you, man? Are you... oh my god. All right, let's see. You have 2 free transfers. You have a Norris Russell team. You don't have Sargeant, so you don't have to worry about that. You could Go to Colapinto for Bottas, get Ferrari in there. I like that. That's good. You have Albon, you have Hulk. Possibility 3 is getting Leclerc in there. What are you changing? Oh, you're changing Hulk to Colapinto to get Leclerc and then 2xing Leclerc. Okay. I would prefer the Norris teams here. But this is the kind of what we were talking about before. Like Norris, Russell, Ferrari, you're sort of hedging your bets a bit. But I really like possibility 3, to be honest. But I still prefer the 2x on Norris here because you're still running McLaren, right? You're not running Ferrari. So you got to look at this like this, right? So if you're running possibility 3, like it is right here, you put the 2x on Leclerc. You don't have Ferrari in this team. You want Leclerc to do well, but if Leclerc does well, Ferrari does well, and you don't have Ferrari. So you shouldn't put the 2x on Ferrari if you don't have Leclerc plus Ferrari, if that makes sense. You should put it on Norris. And I think that goes for most teams, right? The person you put the 2x on, you want to have that team's most of the, unless it's like a Max Verstappen situation. I think that's the only exception to this rule is Max Verstappen, but I don't think you should have Max Verstappen anyway. So in the possibility 3, yes, you could bank on Leclerc doing well and outperforming Norris, but if he does well, then Ferrari does well. And if Ferrari does well, you don't have Ferrari. So I think possibility 3, but with Norris 2x might be the best one you've got here. Or possibility 1. I don't think it's possibility 2 ever. No, because why? I think it's better to just get Colapinto. So I dislike possibility 2 personally. I think possibility 1 or possibility 3, but both times you put the 2x on Norris. And in that case, it's kind of a toss-up. It's really just like who's going to perform the best, Russell plus Ferrari or Leclerc plus Mercedes. And I would be inclined to say it's probably Leclerc plus Mercedes. Why? Well, if Mercedes are the 4th fastest team, that means they're the slowest team in Formula A, which means they're going to have a free pit stop at the end of the race to go for the fastest lap, which means Mercedes is going to get the fastest lap on either like Leclerc or on either Hamilton or Russell. And by having the Mercedes constructor, you're hedging your bets and making sure you do hit that. So I think the fastest lap is either going to McLaren or to Mercedes. So I prefer possibility 3. And that's my verdict. All right. Does that make sense? What is this? Oh my God. Okay, so you have Mercedes, McLaren, Norris, Bottas, Russell, Albon, Sargeant, and you're moving it with a -10. Why is Williams in there? Fraser, why is Williams in there? Why do you have Williams? Norris, Leclerc, Russell, Albon, Colapinto with a -10. There's just no way that would ever work, right? Oh my God. Alright, it's a bit of a troll idea, but wanted to put something different for discussions. Okay. I think, despite if you're going for a C-tier constructor, God forbid, Williams is the best option. So Williams is the best option if you're going for a C-tier constructor. Now, do I think that's viable? No, and I'll explain why. The two, like, compare what you can have, right? You can have either, I mean, you know, I know you have both Albon and Colapinto in here, but say this Albon was Shogun U, and you're comparing Williams plus Leclerc, right? Versus Ferrari plus Albon, right? Let's just imagine that's the move, and so in that case, Leclerc Williams is worse because Leclerc, all of Leclerc's points apart from driver of the day, Ferrari also gets. So you also get the points from Sainz and from the Ferrari constructor, which means what's actually different is like, because you have, with Williams here, you do have Albon, right? Does that make sense? Hold on, let me go to Canva. Let me go, I need to explain this in a way that makes sense. I explained this at the start of the season. Let's just bring up, okay, let's just do this, okay? So, what you have Williams plus Charles Leclerc. Let's go to the correct window here. There we go. So you have Williams. Well, I don't know why this is so big, but it is. So you're Williams plus Leclerc versus, I know it was actually like you had Albon, but you just bear with me for a sec. Versus Ferrari and Albon. Well, what's included in a constructor asset? Well, inside, let's just put these up here and let's put these down here. In a Ferrari, in a constructor asset, you have Leclerc plus Sainz. In this, you have, this is Colapinto, and you have this, right? This is what's included plus the points from the actual constructor. So if we actually compare what's different here, on this side you have Leclerc, on this side you have Leclerc. So we can actually just remove Leclerc because it's the same. You have Leclerc on both sides. You have Albon here, and you have Albon here. So you can actually just remove Albon here. So what you're actually comparing is the Williams constructor points, and that's the fastest lap things. That's fastest pit stop and both of them getting to Q3. Plus, this is Colapinto. Versus the Ferrari constructor points, both, you know, this is like Ferrari constructor is specifically fastest pit stop and the things, plus Carlos Sainz. What do you think outscores? Which side, guys? Which side is better? And this is not, this is Colapinto. I'm gonna, okay, let's just add Colapinto. This is Colapinto. Which side is best? All right, let's start a poll. Left or right? And this is not like all the constructor points. This is just like the fastest lap, the fastest pit stop. So this is just fastest pit stop for either side. Which one's best? Oh, whoops. Left or right? Yes or no? That's so stupid. Start a poll. Let's do left, right. So you see what I mean? Why C-tier constructors are so unbelievably bad. The only thing this side has is budget gains. But Ferrari is still a B-tier asset. So this could maybe work early in the season when you're going all out on budget building because you want to get ahead later on. So you sort of sack for a couple of races with a C-tier constructor that you know is going to perform well, you increase in price, then you get the good assets and you overtake the people that were ahead of you. That is a strategy, a viable strategy. Now we're in the end game. We're late on in the season. We cannot be doing this anymore. So I know it's a bit of a troll idea, but the reason it's bad is because of this. So this is just fastest pit stop points. And let's just make it color that you can see. There you go. So fastest pit stop points, it's not the rest of the points. So whoever's saying, I cannot believe that this is as close as that this is the same sort of split as the Piastri Leclerc chat, okay? But troll poll, I know, but troll question. So this is why C-tier constructors are awful. So yes, no. It's so boring. I wish things like this were viable. I agree, and I think they could be viable early on in the season. The problem with C-tiers also is that like none of them are getting into the top 6, right? Even like, how many times have we seen a C-tier driver get top 5 this season? Has it even happened? I know Hulkenberg's been 6th twice. They need to rework points, maybe. I do agree that something probably needs to be done, but I don't know what that would be. And right now, like, you could go for a viable, but like, that's what I mean. Last year, this was viable because McLaren was a C-tier asset, and McLaren became really, really good suddenly. And also Aston Martin. Aston Martin was a C-tier asset, and Aston Martin were really good at the start of the year. So last year, this was viable because Aston Martin and McLaren competed with Mercedes and Ferrari. This year, none of the C-tier assets are doing that. None of the C-tier constructors are even close. It is a clear Formula A and Formula B, and I think that's why this has sort of created this. But it's a really interesting question, and I think it's really fun to look at it in this way, because like you were asking, is it Leclerc Williams or Albon Ferrari? And it ends up being what's better, Sainz or Colapinto? Like that's what it ends up being, right? Because on both sides you have Leclerc's points, on both sides you have Albon's points. So even though it's Leclerc Williams versus like the actual question, again, let's go back to what the actual question was. The question was Leclerc Williams versus well, this is Mercedes, but Ferrari Albon. And I know Albon's in here, but I simplified it, okay? I assumed this was a Sauber asset. So the actual question is, is Leclerc Williams better than Ferrari Albon? And the answer is Sainz better than Colapinto? And I think yes. So I think that's it's funny how it ends up being that way. That like you're asking if Leclerc is like viable, but the actual answer is, and the thing is like if you're putting the 2x on Leclerc, then obviously the driver of the day points matters. So I haven't factored in driver of the day, but like again, I'm simplifying it. Let's move on. Jetto, for those of you who don't know, Jetto's giga rich, okay? I don't know if he's considered giga rich anymore, but he was definitely giga rich a couple races ago. He's had a few stinkers, but only 2 transfers available. One is forced to use for Sargeant, which I already removed. 2 possible plans, I think it's Sargeant Colapinto, Mercedes Ferrari, or Norris Leclerc, Sargeant for Albon. Which do you think would be better? So I think, for the same reason that I said that this, if you remember, possibility 3, why you put the 2x on Norris here, because you don't have Ferrari. If you go for Norris to Leclerc and Sargeant to Albon, you don't have Ferrari in there. So then you're putting, by my rule that I set previously, you're putting the 2x on Piastri. And I don't know if you want to do that. So I think the Sargeant Colapinto Mercedes to Ferrari is better, because then you put the 2x on Lando and you have McLaren in there. So I think this option is better. Sargeant to Colapinto and Mercedes to Ferrari. Now I don't think this is a bad option, but if you had Ferrari in there, it would be way different. But you don't. So current plan is to go from Mercedes to Ferrari. 125, also rich. 2 free transfers. Thoughts? That looks fine. 1 free transfer. You save transfers for next week. You know, Ferrari, Leclerc look good. I don't see anything else. You have the best C-tier assets in my opinion. So I think it's perfectly fine. You could go for Piastri to Leclerc if you think Leclerc's going to do well. But I would prefer being like me, being a bit of a coward, and just stick with the team and saving transfers for next weekend. So I think it's really, I think it's a good team, Remy, and I think it's a good plan. Calandori, first one takes a -10, a 4th extra option. Okay, we have a lot of things here. A 4th extra option. I had an updated pick at the bottom of submissions. Okay. Current team budget 120.2 million, so slightly poorer than I am. Transfers 2 chips. You do have the no negative, which is interesting. So first one takes a -10. So the okay, yeah. So no, this is current team. This is the -10. All right. So you're moving Sargeant here. You're going for showing on you. This looks perfectly fine. Again, it's a -10 though. And here's where I think the no negative. AP. What's a? Oh, you're going autopilot with this one. Okay. I like the autopilot with Piastri Leclerc. I think that's viable, but you're also doing a -10 to switch this. So I don't think you should go for that. This one, no negative, 2x Norris. I think that's agreeable. I would toss in. So let's look at Calandori's last one, bottom of submissions. This is where you added in with -10 marked. So Sargeant show McLaren to Ferrari. I really like this team. No autopilot. You don't even have to use autopilot here. I think this is. Oh wait. Oh no, you're saying McLaren. Oh no, Mercedes. I got it. That makes sense. Okay. Listen, you might be one of the teams where no negative is good to keep Sargeant in there if you're willing to take the risk. Right? We've discussed that already. That Sargeant with no negative could be an option. This team is so, but you also don't have Ferrari in there, so it's not even like this team is that bonkers. This is a tough one. You're at that like awkward midpoint of budget, where it's not like if you're poorer than you are, it's so obvious to just go for Russell, right? But you kind of have to start mixing and matching. I generally dislike -10s, especially when it comes to removing Lando Norris. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's a real tough one. And you need to sell, you need to downgrade something to upgrade Logan Sargeant. That's the problem. So what do you downgrade is the question. Yeah, that's the, okay, so your problem is you have to downgrade one asset. And you cannot afford to go Sargeant. It's 2 million to go up to Shogun Yu. So you can't do Leclerc to Piastri and run double and just bet against Ferrari either. This is a really, really tough one. I actually don't know which I prefer. Because in every one of these, there's something wrong. Like, I like this one the most, but I don't know if it's worth the -10. Does that make sense? Because you're also betting against Norris. So I think... Damn, I actually think this is probably one of the hardest ones I've ever gotten. Because I don't know what I prefer. Because there's something wrong with... This is my favorite one, but I don't like the -10. This one has Carlos Sainz over Leclerc and Mercedes instead of Ferrari, so I don't think I like this one. This one is missing McLaren, but I think it's maybe this one. You ignore, you don't get the -10, you get to keep Norris. Last time any one of us sold Norris, we lost out on 67 points or something crazy like that. So I actually think it's the last option, because you can gain budget with Mercedes Ferrari and just hope that they get fastest pit stop points, and McLaren don't. And that, you know, McLaren don't want to it, but you can't get like Piastri in there anyway. So I kind of like this one for some budget gain. Hope Albon, Colapinto, and Shogun Yu does the job, and maybe you have some budget to work with next race and can then go back to McLaren. It's really, really tough. I don't like this one because I don't like Carlos Sainz Mercedes, but I also don't like this one because you've sold Norris. So I think it's this one. But it's very, very close. And the no negatives just straight up on the Logan Sargeant team wouldn't be bad either. It's really, really tough. It's really, really tough. But I really like keeping Leclerc in there. And then once Leclerc becomes an A tier, you can then sell Leclerc. Like downgrading Leclerc to Piastri when Leclerc is 25 million. And Leclerc when Leclerc's 25 million and Piastri's 24.5, it will feel way better downgrading Charles Leclerc to Oscar Piastri. So I think you keep Leclerc. That's why I don't think you like this one. So that you can then downgrade Leclerc to afford whatever you need next time. So I think it's either you do this team again and just no negative it and save transfers for next weekend, or you do this team to build even more budget. I think it's probably the last option. Really, really interesting discussion, Calandori. I'm really sorry for your misfortune in terms of budget, because you're in such a tricky spot. I think you would have way easier if you were 2 million poorer, because then you just go for Russell and call it a day, right? So, Fraser, no troll here. My only two options with 2 transfers, can't have Ferrari and Show. That's cost me -10. Which one do you prefer? In that case, just go for Bottas, right? Like Bottas over Show is not like Show over Bottas is not massively in favor of Show. So I think it's number 1. Okay, let's go back up to where we were. We'll do a few more. We need to start like actually doing my team and stuff like that. But we've talked about a lot of important things. So I think this session has been good. I think it's saying Sarge to Ricardo and Albon. Sarge and Ricardo to Albon and Show. Or maybe take a -10 with Piastri, Cole, and Show. I have 2 transfers. I think you should just get Colapinto in there. No? -10. Is that upgrading Russell? I think upgrading Russell to Piastri for a -10 to go for this team could be worth it. Though I really like Albon as well. Though I would probably go for Albon, Colapinto over Albon and Show, even though Show's starting last. I think Colapinto is that much better than Show for the price as well. So I think you either, Chilled Hobbit, I think you either go to Sargeant and Rick to Albon and Colapinto, or you take the -10 hit to go for Piastri over Russell. I think that could be worth it if McLaren have a good race. But if you don't want to do -10s and don't want to risk anything, I think this is way safer, but you go for Colapinto here over Show. Now, if you like Show, you can go for Show, but I think Colapinto's just better. And has a bigger upside. Q3 transfer should I run Norris and Piastri or Piastri and Leclerc? Consider, again, remember what I said. Considering you have Mercedes in there, I think it's better to bet against Ferrari. I think you're going to bet against Leclerc kissing the wall again, right? Does that make sense? So, since you don't have Ferrari, I think you go for Norris and Wait, how do you get Norris Piastri in here? How do you actually get Norris Piastri in here? I'm sorry that I don't see the vision. Do you downgrade Hulk? I don't think you go for Piastri Leclerc because you don't have Ferrari. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I think we gotta start betting against people. Ooh, no negative minus 10 to change a premium asset after transfer out the inactives. No, I wouldn't change it. I think you no negative left. I think your transfer is super simple. Just Colapinto and Hulkenberg. Magnussen and Sargeant out for Colapinto, Hulkenberg. You're done. The thing you should consider, Caps fan, is should you upgrade Mercedes to Ferrari for a minus 10? And again, I did that last week. I got 6 points for it. Not a massive upside, and Leclerc won the race. So maybe it's a possibility, but I think you just both inactives gone. Get Hulk, get Colapinto, call it a day. I think we'll do Mr. Dashing Fox maybe, and then we kind of have to call it on this section because we're approaching 20 minutes too. We need to discuss my team as well. Just swap Albon and Sargeant to Bottas and Show. I might do more team submissions if there's time left, right? Okay, and I want to do questions from chat too. I've not looked at chat for a while. So, you're more up. I did miss a lot of teams. I can't go through all of them. We only have 25 minutes until the deadline. So I'm really sorry. Again, I said this before I started this. I'm really sorry if I can't get to all the teams, but I'd rather discuss a few teams in depth than every team just briefly. Because I think if you listen to the discussion that I have over a long period of time of one team, you can find hints on what you can do for your team. So you can apply it to your. So Mr. Dashing Fox, just swap Albon and Sargeant to Bottas and Show. Albon. Oh, you have to downgrade something. Ooh, that's rough. That is rough, buddy. Downgrading to both Bottas and Show sucks, but you might just have to do that. Especially since you only have 2 free transfers. Like, you could go for like a Leclerc down to Russell, Ferrari down to Mercedes, and then just upgrade Sargeant, but that's a minus 10 and you're selling Ferrari. So I think, yes, I think you just go for double Sauber and pray. Just pray, man. And I'll pray for you. 2x Leclerc or Piastri. Oh my god. Illegal team, by the way. Again, remember what I said? If you 2x Piastri in here, you don't have McLaren. If Piastri does well, McLaren does well, and everyone but you have McLaren because you have this crazy team. So I think you bet against McLaren here and put it on Leclerc. We need to do tip of the week, okay? Praying is all I've been doing this year. That is so valid. Let's open MS Paint, okay? It's time for tip of the week. So, we've been talking a lot about inactive drivers, and I kind of spoiled it in my team selection video that the tip of the week would be sell your inactive drivers. But that's boring, okay? I'm not here to play boring. My tip of the week, and as I've been talking about this for a while now when doing these team submissions. So, Rain, Fantasy, number 1 tip, and it's not tip of the week. It's tip for the rest of the year. Obviously, you sell inactive drivers. Obviously, okay? Obviously, you sell inactive drivers. But my number 1 tip, I also just said hashtag tip. Number 1 tip. Beautiful. Number 1 tip for the rest of the year is double dip. What I mean by that, that's what I've just been discussing with your team submissions. Double dip, right? Who do you captain here? Captain, this is not FPL. Who do you draw a DRS boost? You DRS boost Leclerc because you have Ferrari. You bet on what you have, not on what you don't have. You bet on your team to win. You bet on your team to score the most points, and you bet against the other teams. Spreading your funds around on multiple teams may be safe, but unless you're like top 1k and you're looking to conserve rank, that's not how you play the game from here on out. You need to start double dipping. This was risky earlier in the season, especially with DNFs, you know, Ferrari in Canada, for example. But like, you have to start placing your money on a team. like there were multiple examples of this, right? Let's look back at some examples here, right? Lando Norris right here. You're betting on Lando Norris, but you don't have McLaren. At this point, just bet against Lando Norris. You know, like bet against McLaren to win it. Bet for Ferrari to win it. Similarly, now these were all the same. Let's see if we can find another example of someone not double dipping. Here, you're placing your 2x on Leclerc when you don't have Ferrari. If Leclerc does well, fantastic, great job. The only exception to double dipping is like Verstappen, because you can't afford it. And Verstappen could still be a good 2x option that's differential. The upside you have, obviously the downside is bigger. You got to be prepared, because if you get DNF'd, I mean, if you get DNF'd on your 2x, you're doomed anyway. Like that's just what happens if you 2x your a DNF driver. But I've had that once this season with Leclerc in Canada. That can happen, okay? That can happen. You gotta start double dipping, because that's how you gain rank. That's how you gain points. Does that make sense? Like here, you're 2xing Norris, fantastic, but you don't have McLaren. I would downgrade Piastri here to Russell to upgrade Ferrari to McLaren. You know what I mean? So that you can double dip and bet against Ferrari. Like, go for Russell here. Just downgrade that, right? Upgrade Ferrari and bet for Leclerc ending up in the wall, right? These are the sort of bets we have to make to gain rank. Here again, right? Any suggestions to swap? You don't have Ferrari. I mean, this is fair. You can just go from Mercedes to Ferrari in here, and then bet for Ferrari to winning the race with Leclerc. That's a really good solution to this team, right? 2.1 million in the bank. Easy. Just sell Mercedes for Ferrari. Done. Save a transfer. Boom. I did yours as well, Ninja. I'm sorry that I missed yours earlier. This is a really good example of that. You have Leclerc. You want to bet for Leclerc. Bet for Leclerc. So this is the tip for the rest of the season. Double dip. It's time to double dip. And speaking of double dipping, I'm triple dipping. I'm triple dipping McLaren. I'm gonna keep faith in McLaren being not useless. I'm gonna bet for the updated papaya rules to be good. My transfer this week is Logan Sargeant out, Shogun Yu in. Shogun Yu in specifically because he has a penalty starting at the back of the grid. I feel like he's just better than Bottas. It's either Shogun Yu or Bottas. Ideally, I wouldn't get either of them, but that's where I'm at with the Sargeant loophole removed. Obviously, if you have inactive drivers, you either sell or no negative. But that was the obvious tip. So that's not my tip. That's just a general tip that I like. This is my tip. This is my tip, right? Does that make sense? George Russell over Hamilton? I mean, budget-wise, yes. But if you can have Hamilton and you're betting for Mercedes, yes. But I think at Hamilton's price point, I think you can afford Piastri or Leclerc, and they look better. So I think that's a rough one. I'm off to Manchester play. Catch you later. Ooh, have fun, man. Have fun. Is there a better opportunity to use autopilot later in the season? Yeah. Leclerc, Piastri on all chips except Limitless and Wildcard. So autopilot is fine to use now, especially if you have Leclerc, Piastri. I think that's reasonable, especially in a high-risk track like this. But I also think it's better to use it in a sprint, but you also have other other chips you can use in a sprint, right? You have the no negative that you can use in a sprint. You have the the final fix that could be used at any point. You have the wild card that could be really good in Kota if Red Bull turn out to be really, really fast after their upgrades. So you might be limited to when you can use autopilot. But remember, I've been saying this since like Austria. The autopilot is viable every race, but it's also the worst chip in the game because it's a 50-50 chance of being useless, because usually you're doing this with 2. If you're someone like, one of these crazy people with 3 premium drivers, where are you? Let me find a 3 premium. There we go. Like, teams like this really like the autopilot. This is when we start getting value out of the autopilot, because now the autopilot is only 33% chance of being useless, right? So, I really like that. Thoughts on this team? I don't like Pierre Gasly, but so like Pierre Gasly and Logan Sargeant out seems super easy. But yeah, Alpine stink. Alpine stink. So yeah, I don't like Gasly. Let's go back to my here we go. This is my C tier list. This is Colapinto. This is Behrman, and look where Gasly is. I don't like him. Show is Bottas. I currently have Bottas. Should I make the change? If like transferring out Bottas for Show is not mandatory at all, but if you just want to make one transfer and you already don't have Sargeant or Magnussen, I guess you can make that move. It's not a bad move to make, but I would rather save a transfer so you have 3 transfers next weekend than move Bottas to Show. Should I stop Verstappen, Russell with Norris, Piastri, Leclerc? I don't know what the rest of your team looks like if you have that. So I think you have other structural changes you need to make. Leclerc for quali, then final fix to Piastri. Viable. It could be viable. Especially if Piastri ends up like P5, P6. Could be a really, really good final fix. I might have to make a final fix video later today. So not an impossible thing to do at all. I'm gonna make my change. It's 15 minutes until the deadline. I'm only doing short questions. Is there anything I've missed? I've done tip of the week. We've talked about the FP3 simulations. We've done team submissions. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your, by the way. Make sure you get into the Discord so you're ready for the next deadline stream. I'm doing the deadline stream next weekend, of course, in Singapore. So don't miss that usual time because it's a night race there. So it's going to be usual time at like 2 p.m. Central Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe and like the stream. We're on 53 likes. We can definitely get up to 75 before the end of the stream. So do not miss that. Do not miss that. You missed ordering a pizza so you don't starve. You know, I'm just yapping over here. So I feed on the analysis. I'll order a pizza when qualifying starts. I'm staying around, by the way. So if you have nowhere to watch the qualifying and you're not like switching monitors or switching your screen over to watch the qualifying yourself, feel free to stick around. I'm doing the quality watch along, and we will all scream when Lando Norris hits the wall. Any news on Russell car issue? You gotta link me that Russell car issue because I do not know what it is. I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about it. Russell car issue. He was P1 in FP3, no? All I know is I'm 100% putting Hulkenberg in my team next race. Came against on 0 penalty points. That is a very, very valid point. And I really hope that Hulkenberg has a stinker in this race so that I can upgrade Alex Albon to Nico Hulkenberg next weekend. Actually, I could just downgrade Piastri to someone and upgrade Albon to Nico. So there will be a Haas on the podium. We will be there when that happens. Let's make the transfer. I'm getting Shogun Yu in here for Logan Sargeant. Bye-bye, Logan Sargeant. You were the GOAT while it lasted. Red Bull still not proven. Red Bull, no. I don't think they're proven. We've seen a lot of times, especially during the European season, where Red Bull have been the fastest in terms of the stats and like the numbers, but then McLaren's degradation come online in the race and they're actually way faster. Like, you know, Verstappen has not won a race since Spain, and apart from in Monza, they've looked like the fastest in practice. When you look at like race distance, it's been close, granted, between them and McLaren, but like McLaren's degradation is just way better. So I'm getting Shogun Yu in there. That's my only transfer for my main team, which is currently ranked, what, 15k, looking to get into the top 10k by the end of the year. I think that's my reasonable goal. He won Canada. He won Spain too, no? Did he not win Spain? I don't remember. Did he not win Spain? I can't even remember. It's been so long since Max Verstappen won. Is Red Bull Racing better than Ferrari as constructor? Yes, but they're so expensive that it's super difficult to afford while having a premium team, right? Like, how do I even fit Red Bull Racing in here? Like, the only way for me to fit Red Bull Racing in is this. And you remember what I just said about double dipping? This is way too much of a rainbow for my liking. So this would probably have to be this. Can I upgrade this then? No, I can't even get to Checo with this, so like again, but you're not double dipping though. You're not double dipping though. Is there any way I can fit McLaren and I'm not gonna make any of these moves, but I could do this. Like, this is not awful. This is not an awful double dip. Or like non-double dip, because like Russell, Red Bull. I could see myself running this if Red Bull are really fast in Kota. I could definitely see myself running this in Kota. So can't wait for Drive to Survive Season 7. It's gonna be an amazing season to watch. Yup. Mercedes versus Ferrari Constructors. I think Ferrari looks slightly better, but it's close, Megan. It's close. I miss Dutch Anthem. I don't. I can fit RB because my body is so trash. I'm only oh, are you talking RB as in Racing Bulls? Oh, you only. Oh, maybe. Oh, you only have one premium driver. Okay, got it. I think that's what you mean. Maybe, but I would not risk it. I would build budget with like if your body is so bad, I would build budget with Ferrari, Mercedes for 2 more races, and then in Kota maybe go for a Red Bull. So yeah. Rapid fire questions in chat. With 10 minutes into the deadline. Don't miss the deadline. Make sure to like the stream. We're still only on what 60 likes. We can definitely get this to 70 or 75. There's like 150 people in here, so there's a lot of you who haven't liked the stream. It doesn't cost anything. It's super quick and easy. I'm not asking you to you know, join the stream as a member. Just like the stream, man. Bigger number, better person. Let's see, Limitless. If you still have Limitless, I wouldn't use it in Azerbaijan. I would maybe use it in Singapore. When did we stop thinking of budget and go for points only? Like 2 races ago, but like I would like when you're on a budget that like I am, right? You don't go for a budget building team because you need the points now. You gotta start at some point. The only reason you build budget is so you can gain the points later. And for me now, it is later. Like, what can I do with this? If I go for the best C-tier assets to build budget, if I were to like realistically build a good budget building team, it would probably be this, right? And I have 10.3 million in the bank. I can just fit like this in here. So this is not that far away from what I'm actually running, but you don't go for 3 C-tiers in my position anymore. Or 4 C-tiers, I mean. Would the no negative prevent a points deduction from keeping Sargeant? I think so, yes. You cannot run multiple chips in the same weekend, no. Russell for Piastri just to put Ferrari for Mercedes. Russell for Piastri. You sell Russell for Piastri to put Ferrari for Mercedes. I think that's fine, but you could also just keep either or. Mercedes to Ferrari for -10. If you want to gain 6 points, then maybe. I have 119.2 budget. Do you go for budget points? I think you go for points. Like you can be budget conscious, but you shouldn't be budget focused. Does that make sense? Like I'm budget focused with every team I make, but I'm not budget focused anymore. So what I mean by that is like you could end up dropping McLaren to go for Ferrari Mercedes because they're both B-tier assets and bet against McLaren, right? And run something like this, you know? If you're on 119 million, you can definitely afford this, and you just put the DRS boost on Leclerc. Bet against McLaren a bit. So there are things like that you can do to be budget conscious, but not budget focused. Yeah, good luck and have fun, everyone. We're sticking around. I'm gonna open the we're doing a watch along for the quali as always. Let's get the F1. I had the weather up. Apparently it's raining on Tuesday. Imagine Baku raining. My God, that would have been something. Let's see here. What are we searching for? F1 dashboard. Let's open this. I do not remember what the best way to do this was. Go to the dashboard, but that's okay. Let's fix this. I think it was something like full screen. Syncing. Oh yeah, they haven't started yet, so obviously it won't work yet. Let's go back to this for now. 6 minutes until the deadline. Don't miss it. 6 minutes until the deadline. Good luck for Baku and enjoy. It was sprinkling a bit in FP3 as well. It was? I definitely missed that. That's going to be bad for the track. Hulk or Albon? I prefer Albon. Because all Albon needs, I think Albon is going to be best of the rest. I think Albon's taking P9. But if one of the top 4 teams DNF, just one driver, that puts Albon at 8th. And the difference between 8th and 9th is massive. I don't think you understand how big the difference between 8th and 9th is. Because you get 4 versus 2 points. Albon got 9th. That 2-pointer was not enough for him to increase in price. If you get 4 points from just the race, like from just the race points, you're almost guaranteed to increase in price, always. So an 8th place is almost a guaranteed price increase. 9th place is not. So the difference between 9th and 8th is massive. So all we need is one of the top 4 teams, one of the top 4 drivers, one of the top 8 drivers, one person in Formula A to put it in the wall, and Albon will have a fantastic race. I think if I were to bet on anyone being best of Formula B, it would be Albon. Swap Albon for Hulk? No. Definitely not. I think Albon is better than Hulk for this race. It's a possible switch in the future. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm going to probably make that move in the future. But right now, it's definitely Alex Albon. Let's bring up the quali. Starts in 4 minutes. 4 minutes until deadline. Final questions. That was super loud. All right, what do we have? Any more questions? End up sticking with Mercedes over Ferrari just to differentiate myself and gamble that Leclerc bins it. See, that's a good strategy. Good strategy. Leclerc or Piastri for 2x. It depends on what constructors you have. That is my tip of the week, is double dip. So do you have Ferrari or do you have Mercedes? If you have Ferrari constructor, I would go for Leclerc. If you have like McLaren Mercedes, you definitely go for Piastri. If you have McLaren on Ferrari, then you can go for the Leclerc pick. So double dip, boys. Get the points. Leclerc for -10 or keep Piastri. I would definitely keep Piastri. I don't think 10 points is going to be worth that move. Leclerc is binning it. I'm praying. I hope he does well. My anti-Ferrari team needs it. You have Hulk for show and Leclerc for Piastri. Do I change Leclerc for Piastri? I don't think you need to change Leclerc for Piastri now. I think you can bet with Leclerc doing well. So I think your team looks great. You're richer than me by quite a bit. So I think you stick with what you have. Hulk need to DNF. I would love a Hulkenberg DNF for my team personally, because then I can afford Hulkenberg next time. You locked in? I'm locked in. Are you locked in? I'm locked in. I've done one move, saving a transfer. I just did Logan Sargeant to Shogun Yu. Locked in. Let's get locked in, guys. Thank you so much for... If you're leaving now, thank you so much for being here. I'm sticking around, so don't go anywhere if you want to just sit back, relax, and watch the qualifying with me. But if not, then thank you so much for being here. It always means a lot. Video is going to be up on Monday, probably, and then another video on maybe Thursday or Friday, and then we're doing another deadline stream on Saturday, of course. Advice to Abhijit. Abhijit is... Okay, is Leclerc, Piastri, Norris? I want to swap Verstappen and Ross. You have Ferrari, Mercedes, Albon, Colapinto, Leclerc, Piastri, Norris. 1 minute. Leclerc, Piastri, Norris with Albon, Colapinto. I want to swap Verstappen and Ross. You want to get Verstappen and Norris in there. Verstappen and Russell in there when you have Leclerc, Piastri, Norris. I think that's terrible. No. You stick with Leclerc, Piastri, Norris. I don't trust Verstappen and Russell over those three. I think that's what you mean, right? Am I wrong? Should I know negative? Oh, do you have Sargeant? Are you keeping Sargeant? If you're not keeping Sargeant, then no. Only if you have Sargeant, you're keeping Sargeant. You're so rich, Abhijit. Jesus, are you like top of the leaderboards? What if he actually is? That'd be crazy. You have 2 left to review on Discord, and that's it. Sorry, Tristan, but time's up, I think. Yeah, I try to get to everyone on Discord, but I physically can't, all right? I think I've said my piece on most things. So I don't think there's anything else, any other scenarios that I've missed. 1 minute, it's less like 20 seconds. You gotta make your transfers. Gotta make your transfers. I'm done. Landon Norris, DRS. Let's tweet this out. Let's tweet this out. Bring this over here. Just copy this. Go to Twitter. Do a quick little tweet. Let's see. Hashtag AZERBAIJAN GP team. We did Sargeant 2 show betting on show over Bottas with that grid penalty. Now we pray for no Sauber disasters. And then we just say quick watch. Let's see, QUALI watch along. QUALI watch along live right now. Put in the team. Little cheeky hashtag F1 fantasy. I don't even know how that works, but we're doing it. And then we are going to just share the stream. All right. Quick little copy there. Deadline's up, guys. Thank you so much. We hit 75 likes. I'm happy. I'm a happy man. Usually we get a bit more, but you know, I'll take it. We didn't spike in viewers today, but that's okay. It is earlier. It is earlier. I know some of you Americans are sleeping. And then just quick link there. Boom. All right, and now we sit back, relax, take a deep breath, and watch the F1 dashboard, baby. Let's go. Let's see here. It was this one, right? Ah, this is good enough. This is good enough. Bye, people. Now, we should have something. I don't want people to leave. I'm just chilling, okay? We're gonna watch the QUALI. My friend is 50 points ahead of me in our private leagues. I sincerely hope he missed the deadline and still has mag this week. One can pray. One can pray. Ooh, I'm so far ahead in my friend private league. So I'm just focused on my overall rank right now. Whew. But I also haven't linked my friends to the stream, so maybe they should start listening to my tips. But maybe then they wouldn't play against me. So, you know, I'm so far ahead. Like I'm actually, it's not even close. I'm gonna out my people now. Okay, how bad they are. Let's see, pinned leagues. So, the name got banned. I don't even remember what the name was. But they are a good solid 300 points behind. And some of them have stunk the place out. But I think this guy's inactive. Yikes! Oh no! Oh no! What is this? Aston Martin. Oh, they're running. They're Verstappen fanboys, all of them. This guy's still active. He bought Colapinto. So he's still active. They're Verstappen fanboys. Oh, Red Bull Racing. Oh, they're all... I mean, they're probably poor, right? They probably have no budget. I mean, they have Ocon, Hulk, Ricardo, you know? This guy's the only one who's, like, a serious team. Oh, never mind, he has Alpine. I I take that back. I take that back. I take that back. All right. All right. Outed. Outed. Let's go back to. Funny fact about me: I never wear my favorite team gear during race weekend because I always end up jinxing them when I do. Well, considering I don't have Leclerc. All right, let's make sure that the F1 dash is synced with the stream, because I don't think that it is. And by the stream, I don't mean this stream. I mean the, you know, the racing. But 13. Oh, it's actually really good. I just need to pause it a little for like a second. There you go. All right. Oh. There's a 350-point gap between me and P3 in my 9-person private league. Are you top racing? See, I mean, racing, you've probably abided by what I write in my description every video. Subscribe to win your mini leagues, you know? That's a Rain Fantasy guarantee. How's our league doing, by the way? I'm 47th in my league. Yikes! How many people are in there? 103. Okay, so I'm mid. So Jetto's top of our league, and then Icebreaker's second. That makes sense. Oh, sorry if I'm outing the real names. I didn't mean to do that. I just realized that you guys might have your actual names displayed here. So Jetto's top by quite a margin. Like, look at the difference between me and Jetto. Like, I'm not catching that. What can I realistically attain? I can maybe catch up 100 points by the end of the season. What's that? That is what, 33 something? Oh, second by 50 points. 2 minute DNF, yep. Colapinto. Oh, what did he do? I missed it. Oof. Oh, that's close. Carlos Sainz cuts the corner. My bet. Okay, so Verstappen is complaining about the car jumping around. The reason why I'm not bringing Red Bull, also, I didn't discuss this actually in detail. So the reason I didn't discuss that, or like the reason why I'm also, another reason why I'm not going for Red Bull, is that I suspect Red Bull to be trash in Singapore again. So I don't want to bring Red Bull in only to have to transfer them out later. And I'd rather just go for what I have now, and then if Red Bull are strong and prove that they're not trash in Singapore, I go for them later, you know. Oh my god, Onana saved a penalty. Yeesh. De Ligt scored. Bruno assists. We're beating Southampton, boys. It's possible. I'm a United fan if you didn't know. Unfortunately. Okay. Tsunoda has never been below top 8 in qualifying here at Baku, which is crazy. I don't think he's going to be top 8 today, though. Why are the Mercedes out on mediums? Someone is DNFing this race, surely, though, right? Colapinto third. Woohoo! Colapinto, man. Yeah, Colapinto. That's what I'm talking about. And also, he doesn't have a drive next year. So, I mean, he literally just send it, man. Colapinto goat. I might have to remake the the Logan Sargeant goat thumbnail, but with Colapinto. Colapinto goat is crazy. Is Perez gonna beat Verstappen for the first time this year? By the way, it could happen. At least Show has set a lap, so he's not -5ing. Oh, I'm gonna do. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Predict the bottom 5. Go. So I'm gonna do this as a Q&A, right? So just enter. Don't like ask a question. Just predict the bottom 5. Okay. I've never done the Q&A thing here, so predict the bottom 5. Who goes out in Q1? I've never done a Q&A like this, so I don't know how it works on YouTube. I've never used this feature. Someone type something so I can see if it works. Maybe you can't ask. Can you not? Is it just gone? Ah, there we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now we can see things. Ricardo Bottas, Gasly, Ocon, Show. There we go. All right, we have some things coming in. Okay, it works. It works. Okay, so it basically just clears the chat. I think those are the only active people we're in there right now. Ricardo Bottas, Ocon, Gasly, Show. Ricardo Bottas, Gasly, Ocon. So it's double Alpine, double. And then Ricardo. So it's just Ricardo, Alpine, and Sauber then? That is fair. That is fair. I think we might see a cheeky Lance Stroll in there. I think we might see a cheeky Lance Stroll in there. Mate, you're in Baku. McLaren, not so convincing. But they didn't look super fast in quali pace. And the race pace was still the second fastest behind Red Bull. And we all know what happens once McLaren are on 50 lap old hards. So I wouldn't mind a McLaren being slow in qualifying, because I feel like they're gonna climb in the race. If Perez wins this, it will be the biggest comeback. If Perez wins this, I think we're overhyping Perez. I think he's gonna be fucking P8. Surface wearing. Sauber, Alpine, Stroll. I agree. I think it's Sauber, Alpine, Stroll. Four minutes. Ooh. Closest to the wall. Does that mean they've touched the wall? I would imagine they've touched the wall. Alright, we're gonna have like one more, maybe. One more run. Leclerc's fastest by quite a margin, by the way. Important to note. Gambled on Mercedes or Ferrari, even though I could afford, need someone to crash. All you need is like a Sainz or Leclerc to just hit the wall in the race, and you're fine. If Perez wins, I'll go bald. Will I shave my mustache if Perez goes bald? I don't think so. If Perez goes bald, if Perez wins. Do I bet? Can I? I'll bet my mustache on Perez not winning. I'll bet my mustache on Perez not winning. And you do not want to see me without facial hair. I look like a 12-year-old. Danny Rick cooking. Sonoda is cooking as well, fourth. But I mean, the track evolution goes crazy. Watch Bottas put it like P12. Oh yeah, Show is pushing. Yeah, Bottas is gonna make it through. Oh, 10th. Yeah, Show is just playing toe. Bottas pole. Now maybe Bottas actually makes it through. If Bottas cannot make it through with Show as a toe, so Show is definitely out, right? I think Stroll's gonna be out. I think Gasly and Ocon is gonna be out, and then it's just a last place. Like if Bottas cannot make it out of Q1 with a toe from Show, that's not a Bottas. That's the Sauber car being god awful. I don't think it's discussed enough how this might be the worst car, like one of the worst cars in the history of F1. Obviously the 2021 Haas is worse, right? But it's not that far away. Possibly Behrman out, if not Bottas. That's possible, yep. Yeah, I didn't think Rick was gonna be out, but I also didn't think they were gonna be fucking 4th and 8th. Hope not though. Want Ollie to cook. I also want. Oh, yellow flag. Oh, someone stuck. It's a blue car. It's Ocon. It's Ocon. It's Ocon. Okay, no, it's fine. He's fine. He's fine. Okay. I think Ocon's just in the runoff area, so I think Ocon's out. I think that's Ocon out for sure. Albon's fastest in the middle sector, by the way. Albon's fastest in the middle sector. Look right here on F1 Dash. Yeah, I think Ocon just went off in the runoff area, so I think Ocon's just gone. No, he's not. It was that's Colapinto. I can't see Ocon here. Ocon did something, I think. Colapinto! Oh my god, Albon's second. Colapinto is third. Hello? What's going on? The Williams is so good. Maybe I was trolling. Maybe the Williams constructor was actually the way. Okay, to be fair, I did say that the Williams constructor was the best C2 constructor. But no. Listen. Okay, this is just Williams is gonna be 9th and 10th. We're fine. Verstappen is currently 16th. Imagine if Verstappen's out after all this Red Bull hype. Verstappen's not improving that much. Okay, he's third. Okay, it was enough. Okay, ignore me. Verstappen's third. Stroll's only 9th. Does Bottas have another run? No, Bottas done. Bottas is done. Wow. Okay, so Bottas, Show. I think Ocon's done as well. Ocon's not improving. Yeah, Ocon again has done something. Yellow flag. This is ruining it for everyone. This is just not exciting now. Alonso stuck, but I think it's fine. I think Ricciardo might be out here. Wait, where's Norris? Hello? Norris is out! What? Norris is 17th! Oh my god, Ocon boomed him! Sainz is only 12th? Why is Gasly 4th? Why is Albon 2nd? Why is Norris out? What just happened? I didn't even notice Norris. I mean, the track evolution was good, but he must have messed up prior. What happened? Did he mess up or was it the yellow flag? Oh, he's over the white line. He's over the white line. He's over the white line. Norris is out. There's no way. What? Wait, how is this for fantasy? Out in Q1. Scenes. Discussing hashtag F1 fantasy live right now. Boom, 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 boom. How did this happen? Okay, Ricciardo was out. Stroll made it through. Bearman Alonso made it through. Gasly somehow put it 4th. How did this happen? Dude, this is, I mean, okay. Oscar Piastri, congratulations on the win. I think this is good. Another reason point system is dumb. What is this? What is happening, man? Norris is out in 17th. What does this mean? Ideally, I mean, he's not Pierre Gaslying this. He has to get points, right? And he can get points. That McLaren is fast. All right? That McLaren is fast. We know this. We know the McLaren is fast. He can get a lot of overtakes in here. This is amazing for F1 fantasy owners. The question is it better than if he was pole and had the chance to win? I think not. I think this is objectively worse than a pole position win scenario for Norris. But we're talking in the realms of like a 30-pointer, which is still really, really good, right? It's not a 60-pointer. We're talking in the 35s. And especially if he can get past the Formula A drivers. Like, we don't want Norris to end up 8th. That's a guarantee, okay? No DNF. Norris is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 positions and some overtakes. So that's like a, what, 15, let's say 15 points. That's 8, 15, that's 19 points, okay? So I think worst case scenario, no DNF. I think Norris gets 19 points here, okay? Worst case scenario. That's if he cannot get past any of the other Formula A drivers. We're talking the Mercedes, we're talking the Red Bull, we're talking the Ferrari, right? But I think McLaren have enough pace in the car to do that. So, if Norris can start getting past those drivers as well and maybe get a P5 or P4 or, God forbid, a podium, now we're talking. Now we're cooking, okay? This is surely getting him in driver of the day if he overtakes a lot. Depends on who wins, right? If Piastri wins, Piastri takes driver of the day. I think that's guaranteed. Piastri is going to take driver of the day if Piastri wins, right? That I feel like that's not controversial to say. I don't know who else would win without getting driver of the day. The only one is like Max and Norris. Wow, wow, wow. I cannot believe that just happened. The question is, do you final fix Norris in if possible? I think yes. It depends on who. Like, if you have Piastri or Leclerc and they're on pole, I don't think you ever final fix out the pole position. Maybe now Norris won't lose positions first lap. That is very funny, Fraser. That's very funny. Thank God for autopilot with Norris and Leclerc pick. I think that's good. I think Norris won't outscore whoever wins, but I think he could very well get the second best score this weekend. And if he cannot get past Formula A, like if he's in 8th, that's definitely fastest lap territory. He looks so depressed. Yup. Championship over? No, for sure not. But this is really funny. Thank you so much for the super chat, by the way, Fraser. Thank you so much for the super chat. You don't have to super chat every week, man. I appreciate it a lot. I appreciate it, but you don't have to do that every week. Or every stream. But thank you so much, man. It means a lot, and that was really funny. All right, so let's see. That no McLaren pick feels great. I wouldn't be so sure. Okay. With Norris 17th, if he cannot get past Formula A, that opens up fastest lap territory, which means another 10 points, which means we're now talking in the 29-30s, right? And that's a good score for a captain, right? That's definitely acceptable levels of pointage. But I think worst case scenario, no DNF, he's getting like 20 points. And I don't even think that's controversial to say. The question is who outscores him. Do you get him in if you don't have him on a final fix? Can you afford to get him in? I don't think a lot of people are sitting with budget in the bank. I think if you have Verstappen, you final fix it to Norris. If you have Leclerc or Piastri, those are like the only ones I can see you having that you can maybe afford to get Norris in. It depends on where they end up. They're rolling out now. I'm gonna make this 30 seconds. Delay. Unsafe release. No. What are you... Oh my... Russell, what are you doing, man? Yeah, that was tight, Russell, because you drove past Piastri. If you had just like not squeezed past Piastri, it would have been fine. That was 100% Russell's fault, by the way. Latifi pole. I don't have to like to support a little. You at 100 yet? Yeah, I've had one cash out. Yes, I had my first ever YouTube cash out. That was not from a sponsorship in August. But like, I'm not making bank. I just do this for fun, and it's a bit of extra cash on the side. I've made like, not including the sponsorship, because I don't think I can say how much that was. Not including the sponsorship, I've made like $250 maybe. So it's not a lot, but it's a, you know, it's a pizza when you burn your food in the oven. But yes, I mean, like if I'm to actually make money from this, I need to get sponsorships. But I don't know how to do that. It's kind of weird because my streams do well. Like if I had these numbers on Twitch, it would be kind of crazy, no? Like 100, like I'm peaking 200, but maybe it's just easier to get viewers on YouTube. I've never streamed on YouTube before I started this channel, so I don't know how it is. But I used to stream some gaming on Twitch a couple years ago, when I was competing in a game, and I got like 50 viewers on Twitch. But like my subscriber count is just so low compared to the amount of viewers I get, so people just don't subscribe. I guess it's fine. Time to pull the MS Paint on Final Fix. Oh yeah, I definitely have to cook up a Final Fix video, don't I? Oh, but there's a lot of things happening. We have like a cultural event in my town that I need to head out for. So like as soon as this qualifying is over, I need to head out. So that's why I'm sort of discussing Final Fixes now. It will depend. I don't think Leclerc and Piastri Final Fix to Norris will be worth it if they start P1, P2. I think like someone like a Verstappen from P6 or like a Piastri from P6, I think that's when you start looking at final fix territory. If you have Norris, do you final fix it to... Okay, say Piastri. Say you don't have Piastri. Like, for me, I don't have Leclerc. Say Leclerc gets P1 and Piastri's like P5. Do I final fix Norris to Leclerc? That's interesting. Alright, Piastri goes fastest. Who goes out, by the way? Drop your predictions in the chat. Will overtakes be worth holding? I think overtakes will be worth holding, but again, it depends, right? Like, I don't think Norris with overtakes is going to outscore whoever starts P1 and wins the race. Now, starting P1 obviously doesn't guarantee you a win, but it could. Also, will Perez cook now? I mean, Perez has to see this as his chance. I think we have to see how strong is Piastri. Yeah, I mean, I can't speak on the final fix yet without seeing how good Piastri, Leclerc, Checo is. Checo fastest in Sector 1, Verstappen's fastest in Sector 2. Verstappen goes fastest by half a second. Yikes. If you final fix out Norris and he gets a podium and driver of the day, you'll be on suicide watch. Lol, not worth it. True. Yeah, I don't think I'm finally fixing out Norris. Piastri, oh, with a little love tap. The rear right. Yeah, people just use home feed, not subscription feed. Yep. Yes, if I final fix Norris out and he gets driver of the day on a podium, I will be on suicide watch. Okay. That's me to say, but yeah, it's over dramatic. I will not be very happy. It will be another the Norris disaster video, which did rather well. So maybe that's what I do. Sorry, I just spat everywhere. That's so disgusting. All right. But I might have to make a final fix video tonight. Ollie Behrman masterclass incoming. Oh, true. Like this will bring someone up to P8. That's 3 points. Behrman 5th. I really like these young guys are showing that like this is not that hard. Colapinto's doing well. Behrman's doing well. Get some rookies in here. Like, put some shame on these teams for sticking it safe. It's time to, like, bin out Ricardo. I know there are Ricardo fans, but Ricardo cannot be... Like, either Ricardo takes Perez's seat, or Ricardo's out. Ricardo cannot be at Racing Bulls next year when you have such good young drivers coming through. You just gotta bin him. It's time to try out talent. Like, look at Behrman, just cooking it with the rest of them in a Haas. It's time to cycle some drivers. I know people are sad and sentimental about drivers, but we've got to be ruthless about this. You can't play it safe. Like, why keep... Again, Bottas. I love Bottas. Bottas is like one of my favorite drivers, but I think Sauber should go with the with Bortoleto. I think you should try him. And if he performs badly, if it turns out to be a Nick de Vries or a Mazepin situation, you can just put Bottas back in there, right? It doesn't cost anything to just... Well, obviously cost something, but try out the kids, see how they perform. If they don't cut it, replace them. You know? I think Logan Sargeant, people are... I saw so many people sad, like, oh, Logan Sargeant deserved better. No, he did not. Logan Sargeant did not deserve better. And I'm sorry if you're a Logan Sargeant fanboy. I liked Logan Sargeant too. I thought he was fun. But he did not deserve. He did not deserve to be in the car this year. After the last season, he should have been out. He got like 16 more races than he should have. He was pants. He got way more time than he deserved. And I understand being sentimental about drivers, but like it's cutthroat. There's only 20 seats. We cannot keep mediocrity around. And obviously, I'm saying this as someone who can't parallel park, right? I'm garbage. Whenever I put my butt in a go-kart, I stink the place out. So I'm obviously not better than these guys. But I look at people like Behrman, people like Colapinto. No one expected Colapinto to just drop in there and be like, at least challenging Albon, right? You've got to beat your teammates, and some people just aren't. I think Stroll is like, I know Stroll is not going, but Stroll needs to go soon. He has to hang up the gloves soon. And honestly, like, I don't know, this might hurt some people. And maybe the accident has just been that bad, but Stroll has outperformed Alonso a couple times this season. I think it's time for Alonso to go soon. I want to see Alonso try it with the Newey car in 2026. But if he can't cut it there, then it's time for both of them to go. What about Perez? Regardless of how he performs this race, he should have been gone like ages ago. I fully agree. I fully 100% agree. I cannot believe Liam Lawson is not in a seat. I think Red Bull have messed up with. I honestly, like, you know, Perez are putting it 1-2 right now, but I think they should have put Ricardo in Perez's car so we could just see how Ricardo does against Verstappen, see how Ricardo does in a Red Bull, to like actually test him out. You put, I thought it was a no-brainer to just bin Perez, put Ricardo in Perez's car, put Lawson in Ricardo's car, and just see if Ricardo cuts it for 8 races at the end of the year, and if not, bin off Ricardo as well. And then you have another seat that you can try another new driver in there, such as the Colapinto, if he doesn't get a seat and he performs well, you know? I was hoping Daddy Stroll was going to sell up, and now he's got a Newey who won't sell, so Stroll will be driving for a while longer. Yes. But I think if they don't cut it and don't challenge in 2026 and 2027, I think, like, surely Stroll's going to go. With a Newey car, if he doesn't challenge in 2026 and 7, gotta go. Norris bottling it before the race now. What's next? Him racing free practice too? Yikes. I'm still so mad that Drogovic and Porchera haven't gotten seats yet. Yep. Put Tsunoda in the... True. Like, I don't understand why they don't put Tsunoda in the Red Bull. What's the point of keeping him in V-Carb all this time? Just put him in the Red Bull, see what he can do, and if not, just bin him. Tsunoda has consistently outperformed his teammates for 2 seasons now. I have a conspiracy theory that Aston shareholders were pissed at Stroll and wanted him out, so they nerfed Alonso to make Stroll look better. That's really funny. I don't think it's true, though. All right, 2 minutes left. Red Bull Ferrari on top. Who would have seen this coming? All right, who goes out? Is it the bottom 5 here? Behrman 7th. Need Colapinto to pull through. I need Colapinto in 15th, man. But true, I'd rather him actually be in 10th than 11th. Hamilton is only 9th, by the way. Hamilton really is struggling in qualifying. Ross on the flyer. Yep, before everyone else, though. Gasly, Albon, Russell... Tsunoda. Everyone's improving. Look at the times, by the way. They're so even after the first sector. Mercedes is actually... Hamilton's slow. Hamilton's really slow. I think Hamilton could be out. I actually look at Hamilton's first sector. I mean, I know everyone is on 36.5, but like he's slow. Russell's doing really well here. Almost purpling. Good improvements. Hamilton also better in second sector. You can like see intervals here. Gasly up to 7th. Improves slightly. Here comes Russell. Albon goes 7th above Gasly. Russell goes 4th. Hamilton got a toe there, no? No, he didn't. Hamilton, no, I think it's too far away for Hamilton to get a toe. How fast is Hamilton? Some purples, maybe. Okay, Hamilton's 7th. He should be safe there. He's ahead of Albon, he's ahead of Tsunoda, he's ahead of Gasly. And Albon, Tsunoda, Gasly are done. So Hamilton should be safe. Especially with Stroll stinking it up down here. So I think Hamilton's safe. That's what he needed to do. Why is Paris in pit? Maybe because they don't think. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's fit. Yeah, Russell was below him, so he's safe. Colapinto! Oh, Behrman's only 10th. I think he's gone. Yep. Alonso 5th. That's Behrman gone. Behrman's 11th. Who else is on the lap? Hulk 14th is good for Hulk owners. It's just Verstappen left, no? Okay, so it's just Stroll, Tsunoda, Gasly, but double Haas. Colapinto in 6th, though. Both Williams through. You love to see it. It's Williams, Aston joining the Formula A squad in Q3. And I would not be surprised to see one of them stealing some positions in the qualifying. Oh, Behrman's so upset. What was the time? It's still a 10th. Alright, it's still a 10th. It's not... Yeah. Unfortunate for Behrman, but... Ollie has only ever qualified P11. Ah, that's really sad. Get this man a seat, it's criminal. He has a seat. It's not like it was a thousandth of a second. It was probably a mistake in like one corner, right? That cost him. But he probably had the opportunity to get through. Piastri only 8th, by the way. Oh, it must be so demoralizing for Norris looking at Verstappen getting P1, dude. Behrman out-qualified Hulkenberg. That is big. That is big. Though it's very close. It's like 2/10. It's like 2/10, so. All right. Q3 remaining. I think, prediction for Q3, I don't think it's going to be Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes, Piastri in top 7. I think Colapinto, Alonso, or Albon is going to steal one of the top 7 places. Oh, he had a lockup. Damn, he must have been fast then if it was only a 10th behind. Alright, I'm gonna quickly go to the bathroom and I'll be back for Q3. All right, what have I missed? That Williams play got some inside scoop there. The Williams play goes crazy. All these drivers should be dropped for new blood. Perez, Yuki, Ricardo, Gasly, Hulk, Mag, Ocon, Bottas, Shaw. I don't think you're that far off. I don't think you drop Yuki yet, because he has been outperforming his teammate for a while. I think Gasly is fine as a midfield driver for now. I don't think Hulk should be dropped. Hulk has really shown himself to be a solid driver, and I think he's perfect to usher Audi into the new era. But I agree with the rest. Man, trying to decide if FF Norris out is tough. Can't see him getting all the way to the podium, but if two of the top people take each other out, maybe. I'm not gonna have FF out. You know, I know I'm saying this every time. Like, I need to find a place to actually use my final fix, and I could use it now, but I don't see myself using it to get Norris out when he's starting 17th, right? Norris could very, very likely, if he just gets to P4 or P5, could be the second highest scoring driver behind the winner. So, especially if he gets fastest lap. Hulk is a good driver with bad circumstances? Yup. You think Colapinto get budget increase even with potential position lost? It depends on how many points he score. If he drops too many positions, then obviously no. He needs like 6 or 7 points, right? He needs 6 or 7 points to increase in price. So it's not based on how many positions he loses. It's based on and I don't care if Colapinto drops in price or not. If he gets 5 points, I'm happy, and drops in price. I don't care. I'm not Colapinto's too cheap. I'm not selling Colapinto this season. Unless he's inactive for whatever reason. Can you FF a DRS driver? Yes, you can. That is like the main power of the final fix. You final fix your DRS boosted driver, and the person you bring in that you wanted in is now DRS boosted. So that is the main power of the FF, actually. Everyone goes out at the exact same time. The Williams cannot decide who to go first. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. That was close. Norris interview, he seems to feel pretty bad about overtake chances with the downforce they have. McLaren is never too positive though, and then does well. Yep. I think that's a whole lord. I mean, he's definitely getting past the back markers. Like, worst case, again, as long as Norris doesn't DNF, worst case he's getting 8th. And that's like a 19-pointer already. And let's look at, like, race results, right? Where does that place him? If he gets 19 points, and I think if he's at bottom of Formula A, he has a really good chance to get fastest lap. Race results. Like, look at Monza. If he got 19 points, he's like the fourth or fifth highest scoring driver. 19 points. Like, look at, so I think worst case he's here, but there's a hell of a lot more things that could happen. He could overtake way more. 19 points, that's lowballing it. I feel like I need McLaren in the wall now. No, you need Leclerc in the wall tomorrow. I feel like he's trying to play the underdog, even though he's clearing the best car now. I think so too, but I think he does that for himself as well. If he can tell himself that he's the underdog, I think he'll do better. He needs to be the chaser. He does not like being the one being chased. Unless Leclerc dominates quality and Piastri isn't on the front couple rows, ain't touching FF to dump Norris. Yeah, same. I already have Piastri, so I can't even dump for Piastri. The only thing I could do FF-wise is... I don't think I would sell Piastri. Okay, I might FF. If Piastri is 6th and Leclerc is 1st, I might FF without it being my DRS boost, right? Because like starting 6th is not that great, whereas starting 1st is really good. And if Leclerc wins, he probably gets driver of the day and has a really good points total ahead of him. So I don't think I'm FFing Norris out for Leclerc. Colapinto is flying, man. Like, if Colapinto gets 6th, he will obviously get overtaken, but 6th place is already 5 points from qualifying. So all he needs is, like, pit early, get some overtakes on drivers with slower tires, and finish in P8 or P9, and he'll be fine. And he's also showing that Logan Sargeant was dog, right? Did Sargeant beat Albon in qualifying once? I don't think he did. Maybe once, but it was not often at all. If it happened, it was not common. Cole is indeed flying. Man, I love science. Would be cool to see him snag a win again. Yes, I mean, reasonably, these few races in Ferrari might be his final opportunity to win a race in his career. Like, I don't think Williams is gonna start banging anytime soon, right? He's just in Williams to save a seat. Cole has more pace. Cole looks to have more pace. But it's looking like a Verstappen pole. Oh, what? This was not on. I'm sorry. There we go. It's looking like a Leclerc pole. Still sad. I'm sad New didn't sign for Ferrari, man. Williams not a bad pick as a constructor, it seems now. Only if they can actually fight in the race with the others. If they're gonna be, listen, if they're gonna be P9, P10 every race, they'll still be way worse than every premium constructor. They need to actually be able to mix it with the others. The only time like an Aston Martin or a Williams is going, a constructor will be able to even challenge Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Red Bull in terms of value as a pick, as an asset in F1 Fantasy, is if they actually start taking positions off them in the race. Because right now they aren't. A Ferrari 1-2 would be kind of sick. But like, if it's a Ferrari 1, if it's like this, like the timetable is right now, I'm definitely not making any changes. Do I really switch Piastri for Leclerc, non-DRS boosted final fix switch, when like Piastri could just turn up with crazy race pace after 50 laps? Probably not, right? That doesn't seem worth it as a final fix. They will be hard to pass. They have the highest top speed by a lot. They do, but they're also way slower on the rest of the lap, so they will get passed by other cars. And like the difference between Formula A and Formula B is quite big. Like, there's usually a free pit stop between 8th and 9th every race. Let's not forget that. With these standing, would you FF Leclerc in for Norris? No. FF Norris Leclerc if leaderboard's the same. I don't think so. No. Oh my god, the Williams have the airbox fan in. Oh no. Are they? They're so dumb. Oh no. Oh, Williams, you idiots. No. Oh, does this ruin the entire thing? Oh my god, this what is happening? What is this clownery, man? Williams. Oh, there's ice there. He's not like he's not allowed to drive because he gets a penalty for it. How can they miss that? Oh, idiots. Albon's driving now, though. Possible penalty. Yeah, definitely possible penalty for danger. Which I think would be good for Albon owners. I'd rather him, like, qualifying 8th, right? And they get scooted back in the grid. But it's probably just like a hefty fine, no? He got it out. Did he get the ice out? The ice is on the track. Yeah, I'd like Albon to qualify, get points for qualifying in 8th, and they get moved back 10 positions for unsafe driving. Unsafe release, noted. That could be a 5-position grid penalty. 3 or 5. Is dry ice not an issue? Well, they don't really like it on the track, the stewards, no? I've actually not seen that in F1. That's crazy. Leclerc fastest, purple in sector 1. Alright, let's stop listening to... Oh, wait. Oh, I'm getting spoiled. I'm getting spoiled. This is like 30 seconds ahead of me. I have it on 30 seconds delay. Why is it not working? Hold up. I just pause it and then I'll just restart it. Investigation after said, okay, Albon's definitely getting hit by something here. Williams are idiots. Boom. Here we go. Okay, let's see. So Russell's early in the running, and I don't think, yeah, the Mercedes are not in the running for pole. Piastri's fastest in sector 2. This could be a Piastri pole. Sainz is gone. Sainz is gone. Hamilton improves, but doesn't improve his position. Albon just went into the pits, so he did not do a lap. Piastri goes second. Splits the Ferraris, but Leclerc still ahead. Verstappen doesn't do anything. I think it's just a Leclerc pole. Leclerc improves again. He's 3/10 ahead. Leclerc is a monster, man. Verstappen is not improving. I think Perez is out qualifying. Alonso puts down the Williams. Where's Colapinto? Colapinto! Come on, Colapinto! Oh, he only takes Albon. Cringe, dude. Come on, man. I think Perez. Verstappen overtakes Perez, but I think Perez is going to take him back. Perez overtakes Russell, 4th. Oh my god, Perez out-qualified Verstappen. It happened. But Leclerc is on pole. Leclerc is unreal, man. That quali lap is mental. Also, what were Williams doing, man? I'm so far behind. Yeah, whatever, man. Blame Viaplay. Oh my god. Oh, Verstappen is just 6th. Imagine if Norris was in there, man. Oh, what do I do now? Is Leclerc Piastri front row? Yikes. Okay. Is it worth it to final fix Norris to Leclerc? It could be. It definitely could be. I'm not final fixing Piastri out for Leclerc when Piastri starts second. What do you guys think? I don't know. What are we like? Okay, so what am I expecting here? Will Piastri beat Leclerc? I think yes. I think Piastri wins this race. And I can't switch my 2x. I already have Piastri. So the option is to... So I gotta imagine Leclerc being second here. Right? And if you get second place, you get like 29 points. Messiest lap ever. So 29 points is probably what I expect Leclerc to be at if he doesn't get... Because, okay, I think Piastri is going to be on 46, right? I think Piastri is going to win. I think Piastri is going to get driver of the day. I think Leclerc gets second now. Because Leclerc never wins from pole. Don't forget this. I'm a Ferrari fan. I know how it works. So Leclerc is going to get second. Which means he's going to end up on 29 points. Which means that Norris... worst case ending up in P8 is gonna get like 19 points and the opportunity to get fastest lap for 28 or 29. I think it's close. If Norris gets fastest lap, then it's not worth it, right? It's so close, man. It's really, really close. All right. Okay, what's gonna happen? I have to leave because I have a thing I have to be at. So, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go away. I'm gonna do what I need to do, and the entire time I'm away, I'm going to be thinking about F1 Fantasy. I'm gonna come home, record a final fix video that I'll drop sometime later tonight. Probably late though, so maybe watch it tomorrow morning before if you go to bed. So I might post a final fix video at like midnight or something. I don't know when I'm home. But as soon as I'm home, no matter how drunk I am, I'm gonna record a final fix video. But it's very, very interesting. It's very, very interesting. I don't know what I'll do personally yet, but it's definitely final fix is an option, and I do have to cultural celebration. I mean, it's just a local thing in my hometown, so it's not crazy. Listen, I don't know what to do yet. I'm gonna do an MS Paint video with final fix. Discussing what I think could happen. But right now, I'm leaning no. But I also need to find a final fix more opportunity. I think Lando Norris should get up to P8. There's no question about it. Like, unless he DNFs, right? But we can't think about DNFs. If he gets up to P8, I think he gets 19 points and an opportunity to set fastest lap. That's 29 points. I think if Leclerc gets second and Piastri overtakes him, which I think Piastri will with the race pace that the McLaren has got, I think it will be opposite of what happened in Monza, right? Opposite of what happened in Monza, Piastri will be around 45 points, Leclerc will be around 29 points. And in that case, if Norris does get fastest lap, then Norris and Leclerc are on similar points. And then it's obviously not worth it. But that is like Norris only gets P8, but he gets fastest lap. Norris could get higher than that. I don't know how much higher. I was gonna complain no MS Paint today. No. We have MS Paint. Look, double dip, boys. Leclerc is the GOAT of qualifying. Can you move 2x with FF? Yes. Well, you can't move it to Piastri if you have Piastri. I can't move it from Norris to Piastri, but I can sell Norris to Leclerc, and then the 2x will be on Leclerc, right? So, I think different options, like what combinations can people have where it's worth... If you have... anyone if you have Max Verstappen, if you have Lewis Hamilton, I think final fixing to Leclerc is a no-brainer. Even final fixing to Piastri is a no-brainer. If you have something like Norris, if you have Norris Leclerc and you have the 2x on Norris, I would actually use it on Piastri, right? If you have Norris Leclerc right now and you want to move the 2x to Piastri, because I think Piastri will win from second, right? Leclerc never wins from second. Leclerc also wrecks in Baku, true. So, if you're not like me, if you have Norris Leclerc and can buy Piastri with the final fix on the 2x, I think that's giga worth it, right? I'm popping that immediately if I'm you, but I can't do that. I'm stuck with Piastri, no 2x, and I just gotta, you know, if I got a final fix, I can just do it to Leclerc, and I think Leclerc's gonna be second, which is roughly 30 points, and I think Norris is gonna have the opportunity to get 30 points. It's a lot to think about. I'm gonna make a full video on it. It's gonna be out later tonight. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Like the stream. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for watching this crazy qualifying with me. I'll be back next weekend for another deadline stream for Singapore. Subscribe so you don't miss the final fix video. It will be out sometime, probably midnight-ish today, Central Eastern Standard Time. Or you can just pop into the channel and watch it tomorrow morning. But it will definitely be out this evening, right? So, bye guys. I gotta go. I gotta get out into town. So, I'll see you in the final fix video. I'll see you in the transfer plans video. I'll see you in the team selection video. So 3+ videos coming in the coming week, and then another deadline stream next Saturday. Subscribe so you don't miss it. You already come here to watch this every week. Why not subscribe as well? Bye guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna leave now. See ya.